Good morning, everybody. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. Glad you could make it this wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Friday morning. Oh my God, it is finally the end of the week. And it is going to be an interesting one. So interesting. Hope that everyone was able to catch the stream last night, hang out with the most wonderful Jessica Reloaded, hang out with the even most wonderful Danielle. It was just a beautiful, beautiful day. Yeah, so looks like, hey, Gold Gamer, it's just us, Hal 9000. Well, you know, Eris can only hang on so long before you just wear her out. You know, some good old coffee, good old fashioned coffee, good stuff. Man, if we got a day for you. If you haven't seen latest coming out of Fulton County, oh my Lord Almighty, Fannie Willis is showing her ass. Just like, good Lord, watching that stuff it's insane. It's insane, and how smug she is about it. Man, oh man, oh man. I was completely and utterly blown away at the ridiculousness of that whole bit. And I couldn't watch the whole thing, but I will be pulling it up later today and fast forwarding through a lot of it because a lot of it was bullshit. A lot of it was absolute bullshit. Some of it was good, some of it was bad. I know that there's probably a few people posting it, commenting on it, and it just goes to show you how corrupt the DA's county, Fulton County's DA is, and how insane, how insane is that? But yeah, that will be. I'll probably give you a little bit of a teaser of it this morning, but it's absolutely crazy the kind of garbage that she's trying to pull. Oh man, oh man, just was completely blown away by it. I was hoping to get the what the hell was it? Oh yeah, I was hoping to get more of this. For whatever reason, I was through most of it, and then it just sort of something happened with the computer, and it looked like it rewound and started recording the same damn thing over again. So I don't know what the deal was. Maybe because the stream ended, so it looked like it just kicked it back and started it up all over again. I have no idea, but I did manage to get some of this stuff from the YouTubes. It was just crazy. Here we go. Where is it? Yeah, she's a Soros plant is pretty much what everyone's calling her. It's they had a lot to say about her. Hey, good morning, Toodly Pip. Good to see you. Good to see you. Hey, Farrell. Morning, humans. Yeah, the this is a perfect example of the kind of person that she is. And present this. Here we go. Perfect example of her. Here we go.
But I always have cash at the house. That has been, I don't know, all my life. If you're a woman and you go on a date with a man, you better have $200 in your pocket. So if that man acts up, you can go where you want to go. So I keep cash in my house, and I don't keep cash as good in my purse like I used to. I don't go on many dates, but when you go on a date, you should have cash in your pocket.
So my question was, where did that cash originally come from? If it didn't come out of the bank,
cash is fungible. had cash for years in my house. So for me to tell you the source of when it comes from, when you go to Publix and you buy something, you get $50, you throw it in there. When it's been my whole life. When I took out a large amount of money on my first campaign, I kept some of the cash of that. Like to tell you,
Oh boy, that's not what that is for. Uh, she took money out for a campaign and she kept a bunch of that. What? Oh, that's gonna that's gonna get her in some trouble right there. That's uh that's gonna get her in a lot of trouble right there. Ooh, girl.
I just have cash in my house. I don't have as much today as I would normally have, but I'm building back up now. So you just put money in. It's a very good practice. I would advise it to all women.
So you can't identify when you came into this cash or where the cash came from.
I didn't say I couldn't identify it. No, nobody gives me anything. I am sure that the source of the money is always the work, sweat, and tears of me. What you asked me for is when did the money go in there? What I am trying to tell you is, so I got divorced in 2005 from my husband. And no, it's important. You said, where did the money come from? And I need to tell you where the money came from. And so for many, many years, I have kept money in my house. That money in my worst days has probably only been $500 or $1,000.
I agree. You should always have cash on you, but you just can't steal it from your campaign coffers like that. Yeah.
At my best days, I probably had $15,000 in my house at Kate.
Holy crap. $15,000 just sitting around in cash in her house. Wow.
Cash. At all times, there's going to be cash in my house or wherever I'm laying my head.
The money that you paid Mr. Wade, the cash.
Most people don't even have that in a banking account. Most people don't even carry that in a banking account. That most people in her district don't carry that in a banking account. Some of them barely even make that a year.
In October of 2022, you do not know where that money came from.
I do know where it came from. It came from my sweat and tears.
So it's good to know that Fanny can sweat and tears. She's like a golden goose. She just cries money. And if not, she just lifts up her sweaty pit and out drops a bundle of cash.
You know which job it came from. Did it come from Fulton County or did it come from a private job?
It came from, what are you talking about? So
what are you talking about? What are you talking about, Willis? I live with Joe Bronca and Nate go through this. Only mafiosos carry cash like that. Oh, come on.
Could have come from a private job because before I was DA, I was in private practice. So I earned money during that time.
So she was taking it out of trust? This is weird.
It's probably in there.
You don't know
could have.
It could have come from anywhere. My sweat, my tears, my sweat, my tears, my butt. Good Lord. What in the hell? I mean, I was just like, oh, Lord Almighty. Lord Almighty. Meanwhile, this is what just been listening to Joe Bronca and Nate and all those. Yeah. But here's a good one for you. How about this?
Behind this bullshit, man. What the fuck? Get that shit out my face, motherfucker, if I do something to you. Trying to kill me. Oh, gee, you wall right now. I'm trying to kill him. Behind this bullshit.
Dude's like, I don't want none of your food. Don't want any food. What are you trying to do? Kill me? Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Oh Lord. Mm. Mm-mm-mm. Here, I got one for you ladies. How's this? Got one for you ladies. I'm sure you've seen this before. All of you ladies that like those big buff guys, this one's for you. This one's for you, rock climber.
Here we go, guys. Let's see.
3 plates on first day.
3 plates.
No way!
Oh, it's not even a struggle, though.
Are you kidding me?
This video should be seen by every bodybuilder in the world. And it's so easy, though.
Yeah.
My God.
He's doing the same number of reps as us.
With the same amount of struggle, too. Like, you could have done more reps.
Yeah, you stopped.
I want to stop when the form goes down, kind of.
Wow, it's
So, difference between roided and natural muscle.
Like, we're not exaggerating for the camera. It's like genuinely mind-blowing. You're 165. You've
160, yeah.
160, never done this in your entire life, a single rep.
Yeah.
And you just did the same working weight and reps as us with more range of motion and with good form.
and with what he just said he stopped and the form went away. Every bodybuilding coach in the world just wants to give you a hug right now. They're all just like, God, we love this.
Hats
guy.
off to you, man.
Hats off. You intuitively knew holy shit.
Happy new day. It is a new day, isn't it? Yeah, that's insane. That is completely insane. Dude was able to do the same amount of reps, and whenever he lost his form go away, he was just like, done and done. Lord almighty. Where is it? Sorry, I was looking at something. This is probably the funniest thing all day today. This is the most beautiful thing that I've seen all day. It's an oldie, but a goodie. I'm going to share this here. Here we go. This is good.
What do you do for a living?
Well, I'm retired. I play a lot of golf, and I just recently celebrated my 49th wedding anniversary.
Wow. That's pretty good, man.
That's not easy. You got to treat her with respect, take her on great trips. For our 25th, I took her to China, and next year I'm going to go pick her up.
What do you do for
Oh. On her 25th birthday, I took her to China. And next year, I'm going to go pick her up. Oh, Lord. But you want to see what is. This is one of my favorites. So I don't know if you guys know who Dana White is. I don't know if you know who Dana White is, but this is classic. This is going to go down in the annals of history right here.
Dana White, you are an amazing guy. I can't thank you enough for being here. You and Ginger seem to be getting along. You are not only an amazing businessman, you are an inspiration. You are a philosopher. The way you do business, the way you conduct your business and your friendships and media is, I'm jealous. But Dana, I can't thank you enough for being here.
Thank you for all the kind words. I appreciate it. I am so fucking tired of doing podcasts. I'm literally done with them. I'm not doing any more podcasts.
Just gets up. The look on his face. The awkward look.
Dana White, you are an amazing guy.
The look on their faces was so awesome. He's like, I'm done with this shit. I'm out of here. Just gets up and leaves. Oh, Oh, oh boy. All right. I guess I could probably do something serious tonight. Or this morning, I could do something somewhat serious. Oh, hey, Sean Bird. Good to see you. Ah, yes, 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 yes. Oh my, oh my. I've seen too much the past day, and let's see if we've got this in here. Nope. That one I'm removing that. Done. And crazy beans. Let's see what we got here. Recommendations. Well, let's see what we got here. Okay. Wonderful. So, just so you guys know, Judge McAfee is actually pretty good. Hey, how's it going? Hey, Jude. Good to see you this morning. Sorry, a little bit of a cough. The throat is rough. Maybe need a little bit more the coffee. Good stuff. Very good stuff. All right, so a Georgia judge who is deciding whether to toss Fulton County District Attorney Fannie Willis off the state's election interference case against former President Donald Trump has set a hearing for Thursday. Well, we already know that is over. As soon as allegations of inappropriate romantic relationship between Willis and what Nathan Wade surfaced last month, speculation about the future of the case began to swirl. Even if the prosecution isn't derailed, the upheaval has certainly created an unwanted distraction for Willis and her team and could undermine public confidence in the case, as it should have in the first place. Hey, Scott McGinnis, good to see you, brother. Your parents have been married since 1964, both still alive. I can't fathom such a thing. I have 3 children, and my hell would be married still. Been there, done that. I'm all set. Yeah, that's a different kind of dedication. The defense attorney who first exposed the relationship says it creates a conflict of interest and is asking a judge to dismiss the indictment and prohibit Willis, Wade, and their offices from further involvement in the case. In a response filed earlier this month, Willis acknowledged a personal relationship, but said it has no bearing on serious criminal charges she is pursuing, asking the judge to dismiss the motions. Law says disqualification can occur if evidence is produced demonstrating an actual conflict or even the appearance of one. It is possible that the facts alleged by the defendant could result in a disqualification. I think an evidentiary hearing must occur. And she's set to return right here. It says she's set to return to the case. Allegations of misconduct have taken center stage in Donald Trump's election case, blah, blah, blah. Fannie Willis is set to return to the witness stand on Friday as the case that was supposed to be about efforts to overturn Georgia's presidential election has resulted in embroiled controversy over their love lives of the prosecutor seeking to hold Trump accountable. And so we are going to go over some of that testimony today. It's amazing how insane that this woman is. And I'm dead serious on this. Here we go. Let's bring this thing to a head as you get to watch, in case you haven't seen it. Damn it. And pull this thing off here. There we go. Share this tab instead. And yeah, this is just absolute craziness. You can see she's coming in like a hurricane on this. Oh my. Judge comes back in. Where you want to keep an eye out? You want to keep an eye out right over in here whenever she comes in. This little area over here. Because she comes in hot. Either there or right down here. It's awesome. The neocons are hell bent on preventing Trump from getting this. Yep. Yep. Got to get to it, man. There's some gaps in here. That's what I was going to fix today. She is about to come in all hot and heavy. She's chomping at the bit, especially after what our lover said. My tummy is all
All right, Ms. Cross, if you can bring everyone in. Thank you.
There we go. Here we go. She is cuckoo. She has some sort of attitude like I have never seen. I'll just speed it up, make it go a little faster. We want the subtitles. There she is.
Do you swear me, Your Honor?
You'd like
Do
me
you,
to?
whomever would like to.
We got Deputy Scott usually. But let's go, wait a minute, let everyone get situated and then we'll go back on the record.
Thank you. Sir, do you have like tissue in here?
Yeah. Do you have tissue?
All right, we are back on the record. Deputy Scott, if you could swear in our next witness.
I would, and I do apologize. Anna, do me a favor.
If you could swear on our next witness.
Tell them I'm gonna need some reading glasses. After you swear them, tell him I'm gonna need some reading. If it's swear, you can go ahead and swear me so I don't hold up the court.
If you swear on front to the testimony, you should get a code.
Yes, sir.
Okay, spell your first name.
District Attorney Fani, Fani. Last name is Willis.
Ms. Willis, how did you know to come into the courtroom right now?
There were people I was pacing in my office.
Okay.
And I heard someone yell, his testimony is done. It only made sense to me that I would be your next witness. And I've been very anxious to have this conversation with you today. So I ran to the courtroom.
Right.
So as soon as you heard that Mr. Wade was done testifying, that's when you just assumed you would be the next witness?
It only makes sense.
Did you listen to any of the testimony?
I've been in my office pacing, ma'am.
Did you listen to the arguments?
I did hear the arguments this morning. It's ridiculous to me that you lied on Monday and yet here we still are. And I did listen to that argument.
All right, so that was it, just the argument, no testimony.
Right, I listened to the argument this morning where Adam Abadi, I thought, did an excellent job pointing out how dishonest you were with the court on Monday. And I'm actually surprised that the hearing continued, but since it did, here I am.
Attitude right here.
So let's just talk about what you did in preparation for today. Did you meet with Mr. Wade at all? Once the motion was filed, did you meet with Mr. Wade and talk to him about the motion that I filed to disqualify you?
On this first January motion?
Yes.
I don't know if you could say talked about. I probably had some choice words about some of the things that you said that were dishonest within this motion. So I don't know that it was a conversation. As you know, Mr. Wade is a Southern gentleman.
Give
Me,
it.
not so much.
Okay, but my question was, did you have a conversation with
I didn't
him?
have a substantive conversation.
You did not.
I read this motion, skimmed it more so.
Skimmed it.
And
more so.
I've probably said some choice things to him about some of the lies that were told.
Okay.
And then printed in the media because, we used to be in a day and time where you had 60 Minutes and people did stories and they verified information. And you had this great reporting. But it seems today that a lawyer writes a lie and then it's printed for all of the world to see.
Well, I just want to make sure.
How the hell is
so that
she
you answer the
district
question I asked.
attorney?
So
never
my question
mind.
was,
Overruled, Mr. Abadi.
She was elected.
I told you what happened. I read the motion. I am sure I've told him what my opinion of it is.
Okay.
And past that, we had no substantive conversation.
you did not.
Is there something you didn't understand?
You have to
No, I
remember
just want to
she
make
was
sure
a
that
judge
that
at one point.
you did not
too.
have a meeting with him in the conference room to discuss the
All right,
motion.
next question,
No.
Ms. Merchant.
So in the conference room of my office within this week, you produced some that financial document was given to me, something, and I'm not even sure if it was given to him by me or Mr. Abadi
Mhm.
gave it to me. And I think he showed me a document in our conference room. But as far as a substantive conversation, I would
Yes.
not have,
As
I don't
far as
believe I've
funded
had any
campaign, exactly.
conversation with him that is substantive related to this.
Okay.
I have had conversations with him since you filed the motion, but they wouldn't be substantive to this. He sent me very nice sermons that have been
Mhm.
done. And so we've had conversations about,
I
did you
bet.
listen to that sermon? You know, things of that nature. And I would say they were in relationship to this because I think he did it to be kind.
Let's start back in 2019.
Yep.
So you and Mr. Wade met in October 2019 at a conference?
That is correct.
Okay.
And I think in one of your motions, you tried to implicate I slept with him at that conference, which I find to be extremely offensive. I stayed at that conference. Mr. Wade was my teacher. I did not meet him when he taught the class. I was standing outside talking to Lisa Reeves, who is a judge. Me and her were just having a conversation. Mr. Wade walks up. I think they hug each other. They have some brief conversation, introduces us.
Your Honor,
Mhm.
I'm going to object. We kind of thought that when you asked the question, you didn't answer the question, not a speech. So I object to the speech making.
Okay, I agree.
If I'm able to explain my
There you go.
answers.
I believe she's able to explain her answers.
And
That's Ms. Merchant. That's okay. I can handle it. Ms. Willis, I'll ask you just listen to the answer, or excuse me, the question, and keep the answers confined to the question as best you can. I think you'll have more than enough ample opportunity on when the
On
state.
cross.
It's
It's
highly
follow-ups.
offensive when someone lies on you, and it's highly offensive when they try
Judge.
to implicate that you slept with
Judge.
somebody the first day you met with them,
Judge.
and I take exception to it.
All right. Well, Ms. Willis, you'll have the opportunity to explain all that when it's the state's turn to ask more open-ended questions.
Yeah.
Ms.
There you
Merchant.
go.
Thank you, Judge.
Exactly what you
So again,
did.
my question was, you all met at that conference, though, right?
We did the
Okay.
meeting. He, as I stated, he taught the class. I did not actually meet him when he taught the class. I walked out of the class, and I'm not sure if it was that exact class or we had went to lunch, but we were standing in the vestibule, like
Good
outside of
Lord.
the class. Me and Judge Reeves were having a conversation. She had worked at a law firm I worked at back in 1996.
We're getting way apart. I
Judge.
mean, I don't mind her explaining her
Judge.
answers, but I literally just asked if they met at that conference.
Explaining how she met Mr. Wade, which was exactly the question asked by Ms. Merchant.
It was
That's
answers
not
are
what
more
she
than
asked. She didn't ask. to
Ms.
explain.
Merchant, if you want more concise answers, perhaps you could lead the witness.
I will. Thank you, Judge. Isn't it true that you met Mr. Wade October 2019
I'm
at
gonna
a judge's
We
conference?
haven't gotten to the point where Ms. Willis should be treated hostile under 611.
I think we
And
have.
I very
Mr.
much
Abadi.
want to be here, so I'm not a hostile witness. I very much want to be
Not so
here.
much that you're hostile, Ms. Willis. It'd be an adverse witness. Your interests are opposed to Ms. Merchant's.
Ms.
Thank you.
Merchant's interests are contrary to democracy, Your Honor, not to mine.
All right, let's
Judge, I
proceed.
would-
Oh, my.
Just ask that
We
we-
can keep things moving. Ms. Merchant,
Thank
next question,
you.
please.
Okay, so we've confirmed when you met. After that, isn't it
Oh,
true?
No, I
my.
need to explain this, and I think I get to explain my answers. When I met him, Judge Reeves introduced us.
Good
He
Lord.
handed me his business card. I'm unsure if I handed him my business card, but we exchanged information. He said, if you ever need any help, give me a call. And he walked to the parking lot.
So after you started dating shortly thereafter, correct?
A lie. That's one of your lies.
Okay.
Oh,
Do you know Robin Yurdy?
I know her as Robin Bryant. I knew her. So
I knew
Robin
her.
did not go to my
whenever
college. She went to the college
was-
of, I went to Howard University. She went to Morgan State. I met her through some people I knew. In college, we hung out a bit, not much because she was in Baltimore and I was in Washington,
Man.
D.C. But we hung out a bit. After college, I lost contact with her. I probably didn't see Robin again until maybe 7 or 8 years
Good
ago,
Lord.
a chance meeting here in Atlanta, but we did not have a consistent relationship from when I left college and came to Emory Law School here in Atlanta. But 8 to 10 years ago, just by happenstance, I ran into her. And she
So
was in Atlanta.
you have been friends with Robin for 30 something years.
Did you hear my answer, madam?
Yes. And I'm asking if you've been friends with her for 30 something years.
I've
Love
known
it
her
when
for 30
leftists
something years. We
realize-
certainly hung out and partied together in college. She was from the DC area. She would come home and party
Be
together.
watching this for years to come.
Wasn't close, but she was
It'll
certainly
pick
in
me
the
up.
girlfriends that party together. And then, like I said, I ran into her about 10 years ago in Atlanta, Georgia.
Yep.
So, but we
So-
didn't talk throughout that time period. I didn't see her. I didn't even know where she
No,
was.
she doesn't know.
When
a
I
lot
ran
of
into her, I
things.
was surprised she was in Atlanta. And so, yes,
She's
I have known
hot.
her probably
She
since
is-
1990,
she's
1991, but we have not maintained a consistent relationship that whole time.
For the last 10 years or 5, whatever you'd like to
Howdy,
classify
Zach.
it as.
Good to
Have you
see
been
you.
friends with her?
I have not spoken to Robin in over a year. I certainly do not consider her a friend now. I think that
Oh.
she, you know, There's a saying, no good
Mhm.
deed goes unpunished. And I think that she betrayed our friendship.
So let's
But
narrow it
never
down the
did.
timeline now. So my questions are going to be from the time period of 2019 until she no longer was employed for you, the last time you all talked. So all of my next questions are
boy.
just focused on that time frame, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Up until she left your office.
Yes, ma'am.
During 2019, you all were friends, correct?
Yes, we knew each other in 2019.
During 2020, you all were friends, correct?
We were friends during that time period.
During 2021, you all were friends, correct?
Yes,
And such good friends that when you needed a place to stay, you asked her if you could take over her lease.
that's a lie.
You did
That's
not
not
move
the-
into her apartment?
I
or her
did, but
condo?
that's not the way you characterize it. Is wrong.
I asked if you could take over her lease.
I did not ask if I could take over her lease.
Did you move into her apartment?
I moved into her condo in April of 21, but the
Mhm.
circumstances around that were that Robin met her husband. They wanted to move into another space. She wanted to get rid of her condo. My father was living with me at the house because of this case and
Mhm.
because of my stance on gangs. My life
Sure.
was being threatened regularly. My
Uh-huh.
father urged me to leave our home. At the same time, as luck would have it, Robin wanted to give up her lease because she wanted to move in with this new man she met, who eventually became her husband. And so, as life circumstances worked, my dad was begging me to leave the house. He was afraid for me, afraid for his grandchildren. She wanted someone to take over her lease so that she didn't, have to pay a fee or get abandoned. And so, I don't remember when, but probably March or April of 21, I moved in and
There's
take
a
over her
hostile
lease.
person.
And did you pay her or did you pay the leasing agent?
Yes.
No, I don't even know who the leasing agent was. I paid her.
You paid her.
Yeah.
Did you pay her cash or did you use a card?
There were some times that I would give her cash, but mostly I paid her via Cash App. That would be the most convenient thing.
Oh, really?
So I would not only give her rent, but then like when the utilities would come in, whatever the utility was, she might be like, I need $70, I need $100,
Most likely I
whatever
did
it
a
was.
Cash App,
And
but
we never had a
so why
problem with money.
didn't you,
Whatever she told
why
me it
didn't you
was,
pay
I
Mr.
never
Wade
asked to
back
see a
with
bill.
Cash
I
App?
never questioned her. I just gave it to her.
What percentage you paid cash versus Cash App?
Oh, the vast majority was Cash App. I
Cash
don't know
App.
what percentage. I'm not gonna guess that, but the vast majority was Cash App. But there would be times she would say, this bill came in at $70. Here goes $70.
Did you have a monthly rent amount that you paid her?
I can't remember. It was $1,400, $1,500. I can't remember what it was, and it would vary, which I don't understand to this day. But like I said, I never questioned her.
When did you
Whatever
move
she
out?
said it was, that's what I paid.
When did
I
you move out?
abruptly moved out in February, either late
Abruptly.
January or early February of 22.
Of 22.
Jesus.
Yes,
February
ma'am.
2022, is that what you said?
February of 22. I believe it is January, but I paid her half the rent of February of 22 is what I remember. And because I was offering to pay the whole rent, even though I didn't live there, I didn't think it
Sure,
was right.
Scott.
And I ended up just paying her half the rent.
So that's after you moved out.
Her position
made
was
her happy.
neutral.
Okay. And
arbiter of
the time that you said you had to move out of your house
Right.
because you were scared, did your dad stay there at your house?
My father was concerned. Yes, we were both concerned.
Okay, but he remained there.
My father's 80 years old. He would have been 79. He was scared to death of COVID. You have to go back to when this was. My father's an old man. I wanted him to move out. We had some discussions about him moving out, and what he decided was the risk of COVID was more dangerous than the risk of the people that were threatening. Typical man, more worried about his daughter and his grandchildren than his own safety. You'll get to meet him, and you'll understand he doesn't scare too
Oh,
easily.
you'll get to meet him, huh?
So your grandkids or his grandkids were living at the house as well at that time?
Well, I don't know how old your children are, but when you have adult children, they leave and they come back. They leave and they come back. So there have been periods of time that they're there.
Oh my, oh my, oh my.
I don't know.
Hey, Mo. Good to see you.
Hello.
Have you been seeing any of this?
No, I was having a not so great day, but I'm
Oh.
ready. I do like that she is representing Criss Cross. She missed the short bus, and that's a thing she'll never, ever, ever, ever do again. She does realize that's backwards, right?
Yes.
I mean, not that I'm just saying she's ride or die for Criss Cross, and I appreciate that she has maintained her loyalty through these years.
Yes.
Next, she's going to make us jump, and then, I mean, it'll make my Friday.
She is so horrible at this. She says things that I guarantee you, after this stuff is done, if she is not arrested, I will be
Shizzy.
surprised. I will. It will make no sense to me if she's not arrested,
All
because
right,
she's
I found a
admitted.
tinfoil hat. Let me put this on. Is
She-
Fannie Willis going to be
Fannie Willis
arrested?
admitted to stealing from her campaign, taking money out of her campaign and paying things out of funds from her campaign.
But she also has that magical D behind her name that means "didn't do it"
Yeah.
or "do not
She's
prosecute,"
but she's
whichever it means.
already admitted to it. That's what I'm saying. She's already
Well,
admitted
then
to it.
she's, she's had a error of judgment, and she simply, she
That
couldn't
can't
be truthful in church because that could possibly get you electrocuted. So, they'll come
She
out.
said she's had up to $15,000 just sitting around in cash in her house.
Yeah,
Not
who doesn't?
1,500, 15,000.
Is she running New Jack City? What the hell is going on here? I
Oh,
mean,
oh yeah. You want to know, you want to see corrupt. You're looking at it right here. Between her and Wade, oh my God. Like
I did like, what do you mean by sleep? My
Yeah.
smart ass, this is why I'm not a lawyer. I mean, did you knock uglies at your house? We know y'all weren't sleeping.
Yeah. Yeah. She checks all the boxes. Democrat judge apparently worked under Willis for a few years. Yeah,
Ew. I feel sorry for him.
Judge McAfee's actually a pretty upstanding judge. I mean, he doesn't allow a whole lot of slack on her bullshit. And I
Well,
would
wasn't she allowed to yell at them and stuff? So
Oh
don't make me get a judge costume. I mean, it's
Yeah.
already in my Amazon cart, but don't make me buy a gavel quicker than I needed to.
But the question is, Mo, is it a sexy judge costume?
Okay, well, they didn't have one in my size. They're apparently Bidenomics has broken down that small costume shop. They do have notorious RBG costumes out the yin yang, though.
There you go. Notorious RBG.
And once I figure out how to do my wish list on Buy Me a Coffee, that will go on there. Nothing super serial. All the stupidness of
Damn,
what
I
Mo.
still need to set that up. I need to do that.
Well, I could set it up if that tells you anything about its ease of use. Now, did it take me 4 hours and Googling how do I set up a wish list and then wanting to throw my phone? But I might not have been in the best mental place last night to even try to set things up, but I was trying to be proactive and such.
Well, one thing I will be doing later today, I've got a few things after I get done with this stream. I've got to go return some electrical shit. Overbought. My wife was like, "Yep, we don't need all that." So I've got to take stuff back. And I thought I got a dimmer switch, but it turns out it's just a regular switch. I'm like, son of a bitch. I gotta return this thing.
Aren't the dimmer switches the ones with the slidey deal? Look, I go into Lowe's and I simply cannot stop giggling. And this is why Mr. Mo doesn't take, because he's like, we need some pipe. And I'm like, sure, she does. And he's like, okay, but we need to get some caulk. And I'm like, so he doesn't take me anymore, which means I don't have to go to Lowe's.
I mean, how else do you lay pipe unless you get some caulk?
The only place I would go to Lowe's, and I want this job because, oh my God, the drama, but the paint counter.
Oh God, yes.
Because first I want to see what horrific colors some people pick out. And then B, I want to see the beleaguered husband and wife who have just, decided to pick a color they both don't hate. And I'm just want to be there for all of that. I don't really I do it for free, honestly. Just be like, look, I want to come in on the weekends and just see the horrible paint colors and help fuel the fire just a little bit because I'm horrible.
Well, and this was a bold move, and it wasn't even Trump that started this BS with her. She's the one that went after him, and it's also one of the people that they're going after on. That's also in Trump's boat or whatever, as you might put it. He's the one that actually found out about this and was just like, holy crap, the amount of corruption in this. So she's basically this lady, Fanny, she's taking all of the money that Fulton County is paying, which is in close a lot of money, like their taxpayer dollars is paying for it, and she's got her lover, whatever, that's in there working in this in this same thing. She's made him the special prosecutor for this.
Yeah.
Not only that, on top of that, because he's part of like 3 different law firms. Like they all have their own PCs, but it's sort of like their little office. Those people in that office are also working in different aspects on the same case. So, and he's sitting there going, "Oh, I'm only getting a third of it. I'm not getting all of that money." Well, he's getting a third of that, plus he's getting a third of the other guys, which are working in different aspects of the case, and it's just like
a lawyer that's never done criminal anything.
Like,
but he's the most qualified. But well, that's because you are trying to use the R card. You know what it is. You just don't like people succeeding. Well, I mean,
his
if we want to
testimony
go
yesterday was just, I was sitting here like at the very beginning of it, I was like, oh my God. It's like they're going, "Do you have any receipts?" No. "Do you have any receipts?" No. "Do you have any receipts?" No. Do you have an invoice?" Yeah. That's a fucking receipt. But you didn't say receipt. Like,
oh my God.
I mean, it's just the amount of it's like pulling teeth trying to get these people to tell the truth. It's like it's that whole same thing that Bill Clinton did, where it was like, well, you have to define what is.
Well, at least my mom won't be able to stop me from reading the Ken Starr report this time. She's like, "This is inappropriate for you." And I was like, "Why?"
Why?
Well, I didn't realize what was actually done with the cigarette. I was just like, "Why doesn't he understand the word is? Perhaps this entire report could explain that." And she's like, "Yeah, no. You're not." I
No.
was like, "Mom, why? I want to learn about politics, not this."
This is politics. This is how her dues are being paid. She goes and she is like baby mama, and she is just happy to be jumping from bed to bed and making sure dude gets paid. And how is he getting paid? Oh, whenever they go on a trip, it's not him. She's not benefiting from this. She's pulling cash and she's paying cash for everything. It's just like, okay.
Okay, all right, Shizzy. I'm gonna put out an Alex Jones or a Vince. What's his face? I'm just asking questions. But what if? Because they've shown that they went and this was heavily coordinated with DC. What if they picked Fani, which is because she has all these tick boxes. They knew she was incredibly corrupt, but she also has all these tick boxes. So if all of this explodes like it's doing now, they can just say, "Look at these Republicans. They didn't start looking at her until, we put a strong whammons of,
of colors
shade in here."
Yeah.
Sean, I am
that's
dealing with a
exactly what it is.
hangover. So Jesse Ventura, Vince McMahon, didn't he used to be a wrestler?
Yeah.
It's something or other.
Maybe.
I don't know. I mean, look, Jesse Ventura had the most testosterone and best line in the entire world in the history of 80s action stars, which I don't have time to bleed while holding a minigun. I mean, if you didn't grow a little chest hair even as a girl after hearing that, I don't know what happened to you. But I was like, that is the most dude thing I've ever heard in my entire
It is such a dude thing.
I mean, to be fair, I was 8 and maybe easily impressed and probably shouldn't have been watching Predator. But, what else are you going to do with, daddy-daughter bonding time?
Exactly. Might as well watch
It was
Predator.
either that or Commando, and we watched that afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. That was even better. Men in tight leather pants fighting
an Australian in fishnet for some reasons.
Yes, it was so hilarious. So I was like, oh God. I'm gonna cut you.
And you're like, I was like, because I looked at my dad and I was like, why is he
Fishnets and black
wearing?
leather.
Why is he? Is he? What is this? Is that how all criminals dress? What
Only,
is
only the slight ones.
that? And the stash? I was just like,
It was like Freddie Mercury meets
yeah,
bad
it was
guy.
like it was just like MacGyver joined the Village People. It was weird. And he's like, shh, we're not watching this for the plot. Even at 8, I was like, I have some questions here. Also, why do we want to get Alyssa Milano back? Just asking for a friend.
They come, they do whatever they want to do. Children do what children do. As long as their mother has a house, they'll come to it. Unfortunately, now the threats because of this case have gotten so extreme. I just pay a mortgage and no one lives there.
And that's what I was going to
Sure
ask you.
you
So
do.
when you moved out in, I think you said
Mhm.
April
She pays
2021, you left your
cash
dad
for
and your
that
2
too,
kids
right?
at the house.
My dad and my
I
two
do
kids are
like
not at the
boob
house.
Hold
cam.
on. Okay, so they didn't still live at your house.
Mhm.
My
Did Fox
youngest daughter
News make
certainly did
this?
not live
They've got
there.
skirt
My oldest
cam and
daughter
now
would
boob cam.
come back and forth. I can't say month for month
Probably.
when she was there or when she was not there. I know that she has been there
It is
post me moving
Zoom.
out. At this
We
time,
call
no
it
one is at my
Zoom.
house.
So at some point after you moved out for the safety reasons, at least one of your children did come
Ms.
back. to
Merchant,
the
can we
house.
get to either the
Yeah,
relationship or the
sure.
financial benefit?
Yes.
Hey, Tommy,
So
how's it going?
let's see. We were back at
Glad you
2021.
could make
So
it.
you were still friends with Miss Yeardy then. Were you also friends with Mr. Bradley?
I've never been friends with Mr. Bradley.
You've never been friends with Mr. Bradley?
No, I don't consider us to be friends. I don't dislike Mr. Bradley, but I don't consider us to be friends.
Is he someone that you would have
course
in your
not.
phone and you would message with?
I might have text messaged him.
Okay. Would you text message him and Mr. Wade on the same conversations?
I don't recall doing that, but if it happened, it wouldn't surprise me.
Okay, so that wouldn't surprise you, the three of
Mm-mm.
you. Okay. How frequently would you think that the three of you would have texted?
Not
in a group
very.
chat?
I wouldn't think very often, but you're asking me to recall. I don't even know what time period you're asking me to recall, but I'm not going to speak to that because I just really don't know the answer to that. And so I don't want to speculate as to how often that would happen.
I don't want to
But it's not out of my practice to text two people on one text message. So if you told me that happened and showed it to me,
Yeah.
although I have
So
no
you're part of
recollection
a
of it,
throuple
But there would
now?
be some record of it in your phone, or the phone records
What
would
was
have
that?
some record
No.
of those texts.
perhaps.
What was that, Mo?
Oh, I was saying, is she part of a text threesome now?
Oh, it was just a group text. Like,
Oh.
you had people like my
Like,
brother-in-law and
hey,
sister-in-law. They
please don't tell anyone I used my campaign account for the Bali trip. Love you lots. Smiley face emoji. YOLO.
No, you have to make sure that you put the eggplant emoji in there multiple times.
Well, I mean, I'm sure that was the one before that. Eggplant fire, fire D. Just
And probably with a big D. Just
Talk about, you said that sometimes you paid Miss Yeardy cash.
I don't
When
think
you
I-
went,
I'm sorry.
when you went on vacation with Mr. Wade, let's just go one by one. Let's start with the first one. What's the first time you went on vacation with Mr. Wade?
I think the first time we went on vacation was around April of 22, and it's a vacation
22.
is a stretch, but I'm trying to be comprehensive. I recall April of 22. His birthday is March the 18th. So that would have been his 49th birthday. I took him to like Tennessee for the day. I think we went
There
to
it
a
is.
museum. I think we might have stayed the night. I'm not sure, but I mean, Tennessee's kind of hard to call a vacation, but I just am trying to be
Tennessee
inclusive.
is hard to call a
And
vacation.
like I said, I don't think
see,
God.
I
screw
know it
this
wasn't more than a
woman. Like
day.
some of us are scraping to get like an Airbnb. I mean, no, here's what bothers me about all of this. She's corrupt as all hell, but the fact that this is not coming from the constituents who are seeing people die in the Fulton County Jail, people that have been waiting on bond for waiting to be even hear their court case for
For a
5
year.
years.
5 years.
5 years.
Since
The
2020.
fact that this isn't a public outpouring from the voting constituency, this isn't going to go anywhere. They'd vote her in again just to spite their faces. And
Mhm.
how can anything happen if you just vote to spite your face? or, chop off your nose to spite your face. I mean, she's got cases where actual crimes happened, but they didn't prosecute anything, so she could get this RICO thing going on.
Yeah.
And
her whole thing is I'm going after Trump. As soon as she got in there, I'm going after Trump. I don't care. I'm going after Trump. Like, I'm bringing him down. Like,
yeah, and
it's
local
very
constituents, screw
driven.
you.
It's very politically driven. I mean, it's so politically driven, and she made no qualms about it. No different than Stacey Abrams or any of the others.
Yeah.
And just like, I'm
Stacey
going after
Abrams is president of Earth on Star Trek STD, so
she's never lost ever.
So there is that.
So you're gonna spend the night.
Yeah.
I think that we did. That's what I'm telling you. I think that there's a possibility that we stayed that night in April of 22.
Who paid for the hotel?
I think I did. It was his birthday.
And would you have used a credit card?
Probably maybe a debit card.
A debit card?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember what town you stayed in?
No, I don't remember.
And when did you start dating?
When I started dating Mr. Wade, it was right around then.
April 2022?
22. Yes, it was around then. I don't know, like,
she's not.
It's not like when you're in grade school and you send a little letter and it says, will you be my girlfriend, and you check it. I don't know the day that we started seeing each other, but it was early 22 is my recollection.
Okay, early 22. And you all went to Florida on vacation as well?
I don't recall going to Florida on vacation with him.
You never went to Florida with Mr. Wade?
When we went to get on the cruise ship, we went to Miami.
Okay, that's the only time that you went to Florida with him?
I think we went to Miami and spent the night. That's my recollection.
Okay.
I think we spent one night. That's my recollection of our
Paid
vacation.
for that hotel.
It's not abnormal.
In Miami? I don't remember that.
And how'd you get to Miami?
We would have flown. And we've done that, so that I'm clear. We've done that twice. I think one time we stayed, and I honestly can't tell you, did we stay when the ship left or did we stay when the ship came back? I also can't tell you. So there's two cruises out of Miami. There's one that's in that October time period that was with his mom. And then there was another that was a New Year's Eve trip. I know I paid for the New Year's Eve trip because the tickets were $697 each. And I thought this is ridiculous that the tickets are $700 to go to Miami. But when you travel during New Year's Eve, they get you.
So let's back up and talk about the first time that you went to Florida with Mr. Wade. That was the time that you said you stayed in Miami at the hotel the first night.
If you're traveling during New Year's Eve, flying out of Atlanta, it is a madhouse and it's expensive.
Okay, so this woman is also financially stupid. Awesome.
Yes.
Well, I think she should be in charge of everything.
Mm-hmm.
I reversed my course. Do not repeal the 19th. In fact, only women voting. There we go.
And see, what they're contending is the money that Mr. Wade has that she is directly benefiting from by going on these vacations. And that's why they had to get their story straight ahead of time. Then the story was, well, we didn't start dating until this time. We didn't start doing X, Y, or Z until this time. So it was early 2022 and 2021 had nothing to do with it. We knew each other because I think she was a judge in 2021. So she's sitting here like, well, I have no idea what you're talking about. There was never any improprietary things going on. I swear there was nothing inappropriate going on at all. Like, we weren't, what do you mean I was benefiting from him getting funded by Fulton County? Ugh. Like,
just the meanest accusations. And she went in front of church and yelled at people. I mean, how dare we even bring this up again? We are terrible, terrible people. I will go flog myself like a Rosicrucian tomorrow.
There you go.
Not today.
Not today.
I mean, it's
tomorrow.
Yeah, I have a Lenten schedule. Like, today is feeling bad about, stuff my ancestors did. Tomorrow is self-flagellation, and then, Sunday is when I eat my one Reese cup.
Oh, like, that's special right there. How many
just
cabins on the cruise? Well, one of those cruises, there were two cabins because his mother was with them.
Nothing says romance like bringing your grandma.
Like bringing mama.
Like Ma Clampett. What are you guys? What is that noise? Keep it.
Well, you guys stop in that other room. I can hear you all the way in here.
I hope she got
I
the
guess the time I told you
all-inclusive
I am not
paid drinks.
Yeah. Yeah. Taking a cruise on New Year's is not cheap.
sure. So I'm not sure of two things. So I want to make sure that my testimony is clear. I'm not sure if we stayed in Miami on the October trip. I'm not sure if we stayed in Miami on the December trip. I just can't remember that. And I also don't remember, so that the record is clear, I don't remember if the necessity was as we got on the ship
Necessity.
or we got off the ship. But I do remember there was a night spent in Miami or whatever. I don't remember. But I think that there was a night spent in Miami.
That cruise is the one that you took in October, right?
Ma'am, if you have something to refresh my recollection, I'm intentionally trying to not be difficult with you, but I don't want to make up something. I know that on one of those
Bullshit.
2 trips, you stayed in Miami. I am not sure right now. You're asking me about.
Oh, I'm sorry, you misunderstood. I wasn't asking you
There
which,
you
I was
go.
not asking you which night
Get
you
your
stayed in
hat.
Miami. I'm asking if you took a cruise in October 2022 with Mr. Wade
Yes, and his mom.
and his mother. That's what I was asking.
Yes,
Is that the first time you met his mother?
yes.
It was on that cruise, and that was Royal Caribbean, I believe.
I honestly don't remember what ship. I know we've taken 2 cruises.
Hey,
I
Ma,
don't know
this is
what.
the hoe I'm sleeping with
But
after I
he
just got
paid for
divorced.
the flight and the cruise on Royal Caribbean.
You're muted. I still can't hear you, but I don't know if that's a me thing or a you thing. Can you guys hear him? Or is it me? Let me see. No, I'm. Okay. Now I win. Oh, I've taken over Shizzy's channel. The curse of Mo has struck again.
Now you should be able to
Oh,
hear.
there you are. There
Yeah.
you are.
So something must have happened with my audio program. Give me just a second. I don't know what happened. It like disappeared. So give me a second.
Does anyone have a booklet for Esperanza? Just asking for a friend, because isn't that the crazy language that George Soros wants us to read? That's like Spanglish. Okay, I do wonder why she's not bringing out the receipts. Why is she asking all these questions and not saying, okay, well, we have this receipt. Can we refresh your, I mean, unless this is just the, let's get her in all the lies and her not remembering stuff. And then here's the invoice. But I'm the type that I would get irritated with I don't quite understand and I don't want to lie to you. So I'm going to pretend I don't understand what the words, hotel room and vacation mean.
Yes. Now I think my audio should be back now, right?
Yes, you
Okay.
are good.
So whenever the program that I usually use shut down, that's why it muted it. I have no idea
Oh,
what happened. It just like shut down and I had to restart it. Weird as shit. So yeah, she's so full of shit. Sorry.
well, and that's why I don't understand why this lawyer isn't just saying, okay, we have these invoices. Would you like to see this invoice?
Right.
Or would you like to see the
Is
debit card statement we have?
well, and that's the thing is they've already got proof of
Yeah.
Mr. Wade paying for all of these vacations and all of these trips and all of these things. And part of his testimony was, well, she would pay me in cash, or we would just sort of split it. Like I would pay for this and she would pay for all the dinners or something like that. Which, it can be completely innocent. I'm giving him benefit of the doubt. It can be completely innocent, but the appearance of it is what should, according to the rules, it should basically eliminate that entirely, because even just the appearance of it, And that's part of what that law is that they've got written in there. Just the appearance of it should be enough to disqualify her.
I am going to show you something, Shizzy. I found this at an Amazon pallet store. Now, this is made by someone in China who had a vague recollection or idea of what a cat was supposed to look like. This is kind of what Fannie Willis's testimony is. Someone has a vague idea of what the truth is supposed to look like. And I mean, you know, if you squint and you look sideways, this could be still called a cat and not an abomination or
Yes.
a fever dream nightmare. And Mr. Mo was like, why did you put that in the cart? And I was like, look, it was made by someone who vaguely had an understanding of what a cat maybe could have been.
Well, that's what the
I
cat
was
looked
like,
like before they ate it. They had to fatten it up.
it was the most weird look. I was like, he's like, you really want to buy that? I was like, it looks, I was like, have you met me?
Yes.
But again,
made that. Our truths are not reality.
But so her statements are given as someone who vaguely understands what a truthiness would be.
Right.
Has heard a tale of such things, but has never actually seen one in real life. It's
this is
magnificent.
This is someone that was a judge and saw people lie constantly. Okay. And she can't stop herself from lying. She stormed in there like she was hot to trot, stormed in there, like came running in as soon as he was done and was like standing there, and they're just like, excuse me, Miss Willis. And she's like, well, I'm next.
That's why it was backwards. Her dress was backwards because she's like, oh hell, they're about ready to be done with him. Yeah. And she was with this is my headcanon, y'all. Allegedly, she was with a different prosecutor.
That's not what they call it. That's not prosecution.
It's
different.
It's another P word.
That's different pro.
It's a different P word, but she doesn't understand words.
So yes, he is the original one that does it. He has something called, Mr. Wade is a world traveler. I'm not as versed as him. He's been to 6 of the 7 continents. And so he has both a personal travel agent and he also has a cruise travel agent. I don't know anything about either of those kind of travel agents. So he is the one that would book the travel. Need to be clear when we're talking about just because he booked it doesn't mean, like, I don't consider him having taken me any place. Let me just be honest. The only one that's ever taken somebody someplace is for his 50th birthday. I consider that I took him to Belize. And I took him to Belize because, I don't want to discuss his personal business, but I'm happy Mr. Wade is still here with us. And I did 50 big. Very big.
Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah, so he was going to self-delete when he turned 50 because he had to date her? I mean, I could understand the sentiment, but sir, you got to take one for the team.
This was the point I wanted to make. He was married up until 2023. Okay. So, and his excuse was, well, it was a broken marriage in 2015. And according to the rules, it's like, because there were certain questions that were asked. If you've been with anybody outside of your wife, outside of your marriage, that's not blood related to you, spent the night, hung out, got a little bit of pokey, anything like that, gone to dinner with anyone that is not your wife while you're married. We're talking about married, legally married, or separated, I think was the rest of it, because that was one of the questions that came up, or separated. And he lied. And he tried to obfuscate that whole thing. Every time they would ask him the question, he would lie. And it's just like, dude, you were married. It doesn't matter if you were separated, you were still married.
Yeah. If I were not at least 67% sure that this is all political kabuki theater and nothing is going to happen.
Yeah. Well,
I'd
on either
be
side.
I'd be much more excited, but They're not going to drop the Trump case. They're
No, they won't drop it, but she won't be able to prosecute it. If
Oh,
if
come
they
now.
if they
They're-
go by the if they go by the rules, if they go by the rules, like they want him to be going by the rules, then they won't be able to, he won't be she will not, and he will not be able to prosecute it. They will be pulled off that case, and there'll be somebody out of her office. But it also, yeah, it does not look good for her. And also the case that's happening in New York doesn't look good for them going after Trump on that one either. I mean, it's like it's not, people say Teflon Don. I mean, good Lord, the shit that they've been throwing at him, and he's just like, what the fuck ever.
Well, with the eye agencies, can New Zealand charge Trump with something? I'm sure he, or Australia, did he molest a koala while there? I mean,
oh no, I'd say koala might have molested him while he was there or something. Those are some vicious little bastards.
So still on that October Royal Caribbean cruise, even though he had a
Ma'am.
travel agent. I'm sorry.
If you do me a favor, I don't know what cruise ship, what time. So if you'll help me and say October cruise with mama or the New Year's Eve trip with his sisters, I'll be able to, we can communicate. I just don't know what ship.
October cruise with
oh,
mama.
see,
That's what
this lawyer is better
He-
than
he
me.
paid for the
Okay, I'll
cruise and
draw it
paid
in
for that.
crown for you.
Well, you also have to understand she's a practicing attorney here in Georgia, and she knows all of these people personally.
Yes, Shizzy, I'm just explaining why I am unfit to be a lawyer, because I'd bring the whiteboard of truth and be like, okay, we're gonna dumb this down just a little bit for you.
Yeah.
All right. Now, this is the cruise with the mommy on it. I drew a picture with mommy on it. And then I drew a picture with daddy on it. Okay. I just drew a picture with a peen on it. All right. So peen and mom. All right.
Peen and mom, two different things.
Does that clear that up for you? This is why I'd be in contempt all the time. This is why I'm
Yes.
not allowed to be a lawyer. My mom was
Well,
like, you like trials. Why don't you become a lawyer? I was like, my face is contempt and I can't stop my face from explaining how much I think someone's stupid.
Yes. I still like the boob cam though.
It's keeping me amused, and I have a set at home.
Agent, and he booked
I want to see it.
that through them because he has a cruise agent.
Right.
He also has a regular agent. I don't know the cruise agent's name.
So I wasn't asking about his travel agent. I was just
Well,
asking.
but
if
I'm
he
trying to.
paid for this.
He did not though,
Okay.
because the reason I consider that he did not
Okay.
is I gave him his money back.
And I was
So
about to
I-
ask that, but initially he paid for that.
Yeah, he called his cruise agent. Like I think they have his card on record. They do whatever.
Okay. So
Mhm.
initially he paid for the cruise and the flight to Miami and the Royal Caribbean cruise.
And my understanding of that October cruise is like it was a package the lady did for him.
So, and I'll get to the reimbursements and all that. I'm just trying to confirm he paid for the flight and the cruise in October.
And I think that when you say things that way, I want this record to be
Initially.
abundantly
When
clear
you say things that way.
that he calls his travel agent, he calls his cruise agent. They do whatever he tells
Judge.
them. He's like on a first name basis with
This
these
is where you
people.
say judge.
They do
Stop.
it,
Can you
and
tell
then
her
he
to
tells me
stop?
how much it is, and I give him the money back. I don't, just like you're asking me about the money with Robin. I don't do my friends like that. So if you tell me it's a G, then you're gonna get $1,000. Whatever it is, I didn't ever make him produce receipts to me. Whatever he told me it was, I gave him his money back.
From my bra.
That he paid for the cruise and the flight on his credit card. I'm not asking about reimbursement or after. He used his credit card to buy the cruise and buy the flight, correct?
I have no idea how he paid for it,
Okay.
if it's a credit card, if it's a debit card, but certainly he called his cruise agent. You know, like how many people have a
Hey,
cruise agent?
how's it going?
He calls his
Corn-
cruise
corn
agent,
poke?
tells them where they want to go from what's
Good
booked.
to see you.
You have to remember,
Long
he didn't
time
just
no
he paid
see,
for
most definitely.
that initial was me, him, and his mother.
And then after that cruise, you all flew to Aruba and spent a couple days in a hotel there, correct?
Right. And his mother was not happy
He
that we left her
initially paid
behind
for that. He initially paid for that.
for Aruba. Yes, ma'am.
So let's talk about both of those. I know he initially paid for it. Did you pay him back?
For the cruise and for Aruba. Yeah, I gave him his money before we ever went on that trip.
You gave him cash before you ever went on the trip?
Mm-hmm.
And so when you got
Mhm.
cash to pay him back on these trips, would you go to the ATM?
No, lady.
You would not go to the ATM.
No.
Okay. So
There it is.
Fulton County pays
Listen
you
to this.
direct deposit, I assume?
Yes, Fulton County and the state of Georgia both pay me direct deposits.
Okay. So the cash that you would pay him, you wouldn't get it out of the bank.
I have money in my house.
You have money in your house. So it was just money that was there.
Just keep
When
listening.
you meet my father,
This is important.
he's going to tell you as a woman, you should always have, which I don't have. So let's don't tell him that. You should have at least 6 months in cash at your house at all times. Now, I
Uh-huh.
don't know why this old black man feels like that, but he does. When we were growing up, my daddy had 3 safes in the house. So my father's bought me a lockbox and I
Racist.
keep cash in the house. Now, I don't do it to the degree that my father would do it, so he would probably be ashamed with me, but I always have cash at the house. That has been, I don't know, all my life. If you're a woman and you go on a date with a man, you better have $200 in your pocket. So if that man acts up, you can go where you want to go. So I keep cash in my house, and I don't keep cash as good in my purse like I used to, because I don't go on many dates. But when you go on a date, you should have cash in your pocket.
So my question was, where did that cash originally come from? If it
I had
didn't come out of the
for-
bank.
Cash is fungible. I had cash for
I'm sorry.
Cash
is
cash is fungible. So I'm drawing
Okay.
pictures of where all of this money is supposed to be. Just give me one
Um,
second.
I there is a very good picture where this comes from. Not only does she sweat cash, but she also cries cash. And she keeps at least 6 months worth of cash on her.
So she has it on her person, in her boobs, and in her house.
No, under her armpits or maybe between her
Oh,
legs, because she does sweat a lot. Because I mean, sweats and cries a lot.
well, I
Like
mean, the dress
she's like
is.
she's like the golden goose of G's.
I am impressed. I tell my girls to have money just in case to get themselves out of a bad situation.
Mhm.
I didn't think it had anything to do with my color, but I guess I am also an irritable old African American man too.
Yeah, I mean, I've always got cash on me, but the amount of money that she's going to go into it, and also where the money is coming from. She should have been arrested as soon as she walked out the door. Just listen. It gets worse.
years in my house. So for me to tell you the source of when it comes from, when you go to Publix and you buy something, you get $50, you throw it in there. When it's been my whole life. When I took out a large amount of money on my first campaign, I kept some of the cash of that. Like, to tell you,
Wait a minute.
You just caught that?
Wait a minute. Now I am not a Daryl Brooks lawful law scholar. But I was told that campaign fund misuse was bad, okay?
Yep. She just broke I don't know how many state and federal laws by doing that.
Apropos, I will be running for Fulton County District Attorney, and as a Democrat and Republican and independent, send all cash to me for reasons. Thank you.
I'll make sure that I don't put a dime of that in the bank.
Yeah, I
Especially
mean,
whenever you
because you
find out.
never know if I'm going to go out on a date and might need money.
Wait until you see how much cash she keeps on her at all times. That even
I-
gets more interesting.
Shizzy,
have cash in my
are we in clown?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
and the amount of smugness that she has about it. I mean, her smugness to it is just like, oh my God, not only her, but Wade.
She's
Like
been a
they-
practicing lawyer. Like, she knows this is against the law, correct? Like, this isn't something that's gonna.
I don't think she cares.
Okay,
Personally, I don't
just
think she
checking.
cares.
Sounds
on
good.
my first campaign, I kept some of the cash of that. Like, to tell you, I just have cash in my house. I don't have as much today as I would normally have, but I'm building back up now. So you just put money in. It's a very good practice. I would advise it to all women.
So you can't identify when you came into this cash or where the cash came from.
I didn't say I couldn't identify it. No, nobody gives me anything. I am sure that the source of the money is always the work, sweat, and tears of me. What you asked me for is, when did the money go in there? What I am trying to tell you is, so I got divorced in 2005 from my husband.
And
No, it's important. You said, where did the money come from? And I
No, this is impotent.
Wait a minute. How is divorcing your husband? I mean, it's probably important to him because you probably scammed him out of money too. But, I mean, far be it from me to take up men's rights activism right now. But, ma'am, might we could go back to you taking out campaign funds to buy, I don't know, cruises or protect yourself from bad dates?
Yeah.
I mean, I applaud your father for raising you. Okay, I applaud your father for having sound ideas. I don't know what happened with
In
you,
between.
but
There's something
because
sticking
he has
out.
the same sort of thoughts that I do as a mom. I didn't realize that they were any sort of color idea, but okay. Um, however, could we just go back and aid it a little bit to where you said you took out your whole, campaign funds just a little bit?
Give the funds back, Fanny.
I need to tell you where the money came from.
Is
And
you
so
answering your
for
question
many,
first?
many years, I have kept money in my house. That money in my worst days has probably only been $500 or $1,000. At my best days, I probably had $15,000 in my house.
Fanny's house is not gonna get robbed tonight. I mean, she done told everyone now that she doesn't live at her houses,
Usually
and
I
she
got
has a bunch of cash there.
500 to 1,000. At my best days, I probably have 15,000. You realize that there's people in her district that probably will never see that kind of money at any given point.
No, and this is why I don't understand why the outrage isn't coming from her particular district. People who aren't getting served by her, people whose loved ones are getting unalived in the streets. Their, perpetrators are never getting caught, or if they are, they're getting released because reforms and such, or they're dying in jail. But no, this is all fine as long as she gets Orange Man Cheeto.
Yes.
Okay, I'm just
At
making
all
sure we got
times,
priorities.
there's going to be cash in my house or wherever I'm laying my head.
The money that you paid Mr. Wade, the cash in October of 2022, you do not know where that money came from.
I do know where it came from. It came from my sweat and tears.
You know which job it came from. Did it come from Fulton County or did it come from a private
It
job?
came from, what are you talking about? So it could have come from a private job because before I was DA, I was in private practice. So I earned money during that time period. That's probably in there. It could have, what do you mean? I don't know where it came from. I
I
absolutely,
understand the situation. We can move on.
Okay, thanks. Same with Aruba. You don't know where that cash came from either, right?
ma'am, you are mischaracterizing my testimony greatly. I'm not going to allow you to mischaracterize my testimony. I know that I keep money in my house. The amounts of money I gave Mr. Wade, it was never that serious. I don't think I've ever handed him more than $2,500 in a reimbursement. So we're not talking about $20,000 in cash. I don't have $20,000 in cash right now. The most I ever gave him, I know I gave him $2,500 when we went to Belize because we went to one hotel and then we went to a second hotel. That $2,500 I actually gave him while we were still in Belize. I know that the Aruba trip, the one that you described with his mom, I think I gave him about $2,000 for that trip for like total.
His mom went to Aruba with you?
The Aruba trip. So I consider that to be one trip. So we got off of a cruise ship and then we went to Aruba, which is why I cannot remember is that the time that we had to stay in Miami to wait for the flight for Aruba.
Jesus.
So I consider that one trip, but we didn't like come back to Atlanta and leave. We flew down to Miami. We got on a cruise ship. We spent a couple of days with his mama. We came back to Miami. When we came back to Miami, either that day or the next day, we flew to Aruba. We spent a few days in Aruba and we came back. That was really one trip. Even though we went two places, it was one trip.
So let's talk about the California trip.
Napa.
Is that when you were moving your daughter out to California? When you all went, or did you have two trips to California?
My daughter doesn't live in California.
Did she ever live in California?
I'm not discussing to you the location of my child.
So how many times did you go with Mr. Wade to California?
Once.
And you all stayed in Napa Valley and he paid for the plane tickets and the hotel?
Pause it just a second. Now, I'm sure Fanny, being a former prosecutor and judge, this is why I call bullshit on this being a fair judge, because I'm pretty sure that at no time did she ever let a witness say, I'm not going to answer your question. Ma'am, this is a sound question. You can't just filibuster up here. What the hell? Stop being a moron.
Well, and you notice that the judge, that the prosecutor skips over that. It's like, because it really is not that important about the stuff with your child. And I agree with you, but also because of her position, and I can understand why it's like, okay, we're not talking about my child. And that I'm sorry, I would side with the judge on this. Just let it go. There's no need doing it because
But I would admonish her. I would admonish her that you are being asked questions for the safety of your child. We will skip this, but you need to answer the questions that are given unless I say that objection or we aren't going to touch on this for safety of people not involved in this case.
Well, she
Again,
still thinks
I am
she's the shit.
I am the god of this courtroom. Again, this is why I'm not a judge.
Yes.
Because I'd be like, "Oh hell no."
Oh hell no.
I would be like, bailiff, bring me the shock shackles. But she's a sitting DA. Do I give to am I a judge in this courtroom? Give me the shock shackles.
Yeah.
America needs this for healing.
You paid for the plane tickets and the hotel.
And what did you pay for on that trip?
I gave him much less cash that time, probably $400 or $500, and then I paid for a bunch of stuff. I think we did 2 different wine tours that you do, which are pretty expensive. I think I bought him. He likes wine. I don't really like
They're
wine,
not
to be
that
honest with you. I like
expensive.
Grey
Wine
Goose.
tours are not that expensive.
I bought him a bottle of wine while we were there, and the sippings that you do. I can't remember how many, like 4 or 5 different places you go. I remember we went to this place that they do pairings. That was the most expensive thing that I think that we did while we were there.
Those
So they
will be
would pair
expensive.
they would pair champagne, chocolate, and caviar. It was a 3, and it was like 3 different things. Sweden, Russia, someplace else. I'll make that up. But that was the most expensive thing we did that trip. And
Wait, what's your question?
So again, just rubbing it in the face of her constituency who probably is eating government cheese and, not even real ramen noodles anymore. We were doing pairings, I mean, from Russia and Sweden or wherever, and we went with his mama to Belize. I mean, just as you do.
Well, Aruba,
Or-
they took a cruise for whatever reason. It was a day cruise, and then came back and then flew out the next day to Aruba. Yeah, let them eat cake. That is exactly her attitude. Like she honestly believes I'm better than all of you low life motherfuckers, and I always will be. And
Has she met the super mayor from Chicago?
I'm sure that they've probably munched.
Because she and
carpet
Tiffany
together.
Henyard for president. I think her and Tiffany Henyard on the ticket, 2 strong, independent women of color who have just taken their corruption to new heights. I think they are truly the ticket that the Democratic Party needs.
They are so humble too. They're so humble.
Humble and, just I will say, if I were able to get the entire media establishment class to call me Fawny and not Fanny, I would have golden brass lady balls after that.
Yeah, call her phony.
So I would probably feel a little full of myself. Now I'd also be mad at my family for naming me Fanny, but that's just a whole nother issue.
I paid for it. I paid for that.
You pay cash?
For us doing that? Yeah, I think that trip did not cost me a lot of money. I might have took like $750 in cash on me because we weren't gone.
It cost you a whole bunch of money.
I only asked if you paid in cash. I don't need to know the amount.
Yeah, cost.
When I travel, I always take cash.
And is the cash that you keep in your house, or do you keep it at the condo that you were living in?
So at that point, it wouldn't be at my house. And I'm sorry if I was not clear. The money would be wherever I laid my head. So I wouldn't leave the money at the house. So if I was unclear, no, money's going to be where I stay.
How much did you pay for your trip to Panama?
To where?
Panama, I believe.
I didn't go to Panama.
I may have the location wrong.
I never went to Panama. Mr. Wade went to Panama with his frat brother.
Oh, he went to Panama with his frat brothers. So tell me about, let's see. So I want to make sure I've got them. I've got Belize. You already covered Belize. You covered the.
So let me tell you our real trips. In October, we went with, we went on the cruise with his mom. We got back from the cruise with his mom and we went to Aruba. I consider that one trip. Second trip, New Year's Eve, we went on a cruise to the Bahamas. That's the second trip. I want to make sure I get this right. Third trip, 100% on me. I think he might have spent $200 on that entire trip. We went to Belize. That was my trip. That was, his 50th. And then Napa Valley, we went around May. I don't know the dates, but it seems to me like it was close to Mother's Day.
And those are the only trips?
So that the record is complete. I can remember one time driving to where were we? South Carolina, and we met my sister for lunch with her man.
When
We
was
didn't
that?
stay I don't know, but we didn't stay the night there. But I guess people would consider that a trip if you drive somewhere and you come back. That was insane because it was like 5 hours to drive. We ate lunch and we drove right
Shit.
back.
Where in the hell was she
I
driving
can
to?
remember driving to some little town in
Well, I would say, 5-hour maybe round trip. But if it takes you 5 hours to get South Carolina, then I don't know where in the hell you're going in South Carolina unless you're driving up to the utmost tip. But I mean, just going to like Charleston. I mean, from Atlanta, you're talking like 2 hours, 2.5 hours.
Well, it's it maybe they were just going the speed limit. They didn't want to break the law. She's very, very conscious
Yes, very
of
conscious of
of
not breaking
laws.
the law. Yeah, she's very, very conscious of not breaking laws. Good Lord.
Georgia. I don't even know where I was. I had
She's
never been there before or
so
after. There's some
smug.
boats you can get on over to, and there's like a slave thing. If that gives anyone any reference, we didn't do that. I remember doing
What, you didn't
that.
do the slave
I remember
thing?
driving one time to
Yeah.
Charlotte. We had lunch with one of my very close girlfriends, and again, we drove to Charlotte.
She probably thinks what people call the slave market down in downtown Charleston. She probably thinks that was a slave market, which it never was. It's always been shopping, and not for humans.
Well, I mean, context, and she doesn't understand wordy bits anyway, so how
Yeah.
how could she know what context means? I mean, she seems to struggle with it. I don't know what her LSAT or her SAT, but maybe she got that vocab thing really bad.
Hey,
She was like, X is to Y as is blank is to larceny. Corruption is to democracy as breathing is to what's that word? No idea. She was just a little confused about that. That's why she took the ACT.
Yeah.
She was much more of a math person.
Math.
Met my girlfriend for lunch and drove right back. So that's a trip. We didn't stay the night there, but I just want to be complete in my testimony. We drove someplace, had lunch, drove back. I don't remember another driving someplace distant for lunch and coming back to Charlotte to see a girlfriend, to meet my sister in South Carolina. We went by ourselves when I told you about that remote place in Georgia. We could have driven someplace else and had lunch and came back, but that's all that comes to my recollection right now. There could have been another place we drove and had lunch. My security team was very clear to me. I'm not to be out and about in Atlanta without them. And so for me to do something just very normal that a normal person would get to do if they weren't prosecuting this case, I got to drive 4 hours to do it.
Her security
And that's what I was going to ask you. Your security detail, did they take you to and from your house?
So I haven't been able to enjoy my home.
Condo, I'm sorry.
since
And
March of
where you lay your head? Did they take you to and from where you lay your head?
99% of the time.
Would they take Mr. Wade to and from wherever you laid your head?
That has never in the history of ever happened, ever, okay?
Your security team has never taken him?
From my house? That's a lie. That's another.
If they've ever taken him anywhere.
And I'm telling you that that's never happened.
So your security team has never taken Mr.
My
Wade anywhere?
security team has never taken Mr. Wade from any place where I have lived and brought him here. Never, not once, not ever.
Have they ever taken the two of you together?
To where?
Anywhere.
Well, we've left this building and gone to lunch, but I go to lunch so rarely that is a very rare occasion. I am sure. And let me be clear, it wouldn't just be Mr. Wade. So I'm sure my security team has taken me to lunch. Probably been a time I've left here 7 o'clock, gone to get something to eat. And I don't even know that they would have taken him or if he would have driven himself, but they've taken me to do that. But we're talking very few, very far in between. Most days I don't even eat lunch. And when I do, it's because my assistant has heated up some bag, something, and I eat through meetings and eat in my office. It's not a practice of mine to go to lunch.
During the time period that you were dating, would your security team ever take you two together anywhere?
No.
Never.
If there was a lunch that occurred that I just described, if there was a meal that occurred that I just described, anything outside of that, and it needs to be very clear. Not often. Once, twice. Because I want to be over-inclusive, I'm saying once or twice. I'm not certain that it happened, but I'd rather be over-inclusive with you.
So your office objected to us getting Delta records for flights that you may have taken with Mr. Wade.
And, well, no. I object to you getting records. You've been intrusive into people's personal lives. You're confused. You think I'm on trial. These people are on trial for trying to steal an election in 2020. I'm not on trial.
Yeah, you're actually testifying as to inappropriate behavior. You're right. You're not on trial.
No, you're being placed in a you're very close to losing your bar license, but no, you're not on trial. But I'm glad you can recognize the difference, so maybe you can suss out the truth. But didn't you just admit to campaign finance fraud on stand?
Yes.
Ma'am, glass
oath.
houses, stone. You don't strike me as Mary, so I don't know if you can throw those. I mean, unless you are going to come up with the immaculate contraption now.
Yeah.
Which I'm
yeah.
willing to hear it. I'm buying what you're
It's-
selling, ma'am.
And this is all you want to hear.
FBI, open up!
Does she have a dog where she lays her head? Also, I added where she lays her head since it's no longer a house. It's under her pillow in a mayonnaise jar. Her house is going to get robbed now. You realize this. She's like those dumb idiots on Instagram. They're like, I got all this ice on me. I don't believe in, the police, and I don't believe in firearms. And then they tag their location where they're at and wonder why a bunch of criminals show up to. I mean, no one do it. I'm not calling for it. I'm not asking for it. But she's now put on record that she has mountains of cash on her at all times.
Yeah, why not? I mean, as a woman, you got to have mountains of cash on you all the time.
And in her home, which she doesn't even live at, so it's unprotected. And then she changed it to where she lays her head, which is probably she was thinking, I got a bunch of people who might try to, go into my house.
No.
No matter how hard you try to put me on trial.
So my question was, do you have any problem?
I object to getting any personal records of mine.
We're not dealing with privilege through a witness.
And I'm not, no, I'm not dealing with
Objection.
privilege. What we had offered to put them in camera for the court to review, and I just want to know if she has any
That's not
problem.
something you deal with a witness.
Okay, you have to file as part of your job something called an income and financial disclosure report, correct?
That's correct.
And you filed your first one. So you filed 2 today, is that right?
Is it 2 or 3? I probably would have filed 21, 22, and maybe I haven't filed 23 yet because isn't it due like June of the next year?
April, I believe. So you filed, let's see, you filed your first one, it looks like April 15th, 2022, and your second one, April 17th, 2023. Does that sound familiar?
I don't remember the dates, but you're an officer of the court. I hope you're telling the truth now.
May I approach the witness?
You may.
Thank you. I already gave
Yeah.
the state a copy, exhibit 20 and 21, if you take a look.
Oh,
They were part of the certified
lady
record.
balls on this chick.
Can somebody bring me some? Yeah. You guys are getting a little old.
I'm getting a little heated. Bring me some fucking water.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that you filed.
This looks like me for sure. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Judge, we'd move to admit 20 and 21.
I think you need to delineate which one's which
20
one's which.
is 2021, so it accounts for the time period, Your Honor, January the 1st, 21 through December the 31st, 2021. That is Defendant's Exhibit 20. Defendant's Exhibit 2021, it accounts for the time period, January the 1st, 2022 through December the 1st of 2022.
All right. Any objection to exhibits 20 and 21
Nope. I'm sorry.
from other counsel?
I'm sorry.
Noted without objection.
The
No, you're not.
fuck is
When did
she?
your relationship- your
Why
personal
the
relationship
hell
with
is
Mr. Wade
she
end?
answering?
Because
Our
she's
personal relationship
that kind of
ended
person.
in this year.
And see,
So let's be
she's-
very clear so that we don't.
all she's doing is she's making herself look like she is, and this is why they're letting her do it, because it makes her look like such an asshole that it's like there is no doubt that this is political hunt. That's all it is.
Yeah, again, if anything were going to happen, but we've all known this. The people who know this know this. The people that are normies listen to CNN and they're going to say, well, Fanny did a wonderful job. She really was
course.
outsmarting them.
How is the witness objecting? Yeah, just let her dig the hole deeper. Let her dig the hole deeper. That's what I say. And I'm sure Judge McAfee is sitting there going, I have to deal with this shit. Like,
mix words. I don't want to mix words in here. Mr. Wade is my friend right now. Mr. Wade, I would say, has been my friend since 2020. I think he started out as like a mentor and a professional colleague. He became my friend and somebody that I really respected. I feel very indebted to Mr. Wade for taking on the task of this job. And he is certainly my friend and one of the people that I respect the most. So if you ask about a personal relationship, I consider myself to have a personal relationship right now, Mr. Wade. I consider myself to have a personal relationship with Anna Cross. I consider myself to have a personal relationship with Mr. Abadi. I consider myself to have a personal relationship with Andrew Evans.
Okay, let me just
So
clarify that
I
before we
have
go.
a personal
hey,
relationship
can
with
you
him
shut up,
as
woman?
we speak right now.
A
I
romantic
don't think
rela-
that's what you're asking. I think that's what
romantic
you're asking.
relationship. When did your romantic relationship with Mr. Wade end?
My
When did it end?
Me and Mr. Wade, we are good friends.
With benefits?
My respect for him has grown over these 7 weeks of attacks. We are very good friends. I think, but for these attacks, it would have been a friendship that, as life goes, you would have stopped having. I think that you have cemented that we'll be friends to the day we die.
That let's.
We just have an answer to the question.
I can handle Mr. Seda. Let's have
She
it.
asked about a personal
She
relationship.
asked when the romantic relationship ended. That's the question.
It sometime in, I'd say late summer of 2023. So I don't believe me in, with this, what you're really asking about. This is the salaciousness of all of this, right?
No, I'm just
When
asking about
you're
your
re-
romantic relationship. When you stopped dating.
Not salacious.
I think that me and Mr. Wade, so he's a man, he probably would say June or July. I would say we had a tough conversation in
He's
August.
a man.
And so that men
Translate,
in
they stop
relationships, at the
bumping
end of
uglies.
physical intimacy,
Yeah.
women in relationships when that tough conversation takes place.
And where, when did he come to, I guess, the condo? I'm not sure what you called it, condo apartment. Would he come and stay at that condo or visit you there? I'm sorry, visit you there.
What condo, what apartment? I want to be clear.
So not your house. I know you classified one as house and one as condo. So I'm trying to use those terms.
So, but there's been more, I don't understand this because of this case, I got to move. And so I
Ms.
need
Merchant, if you
to,
could ask a more precise
yes,
question.
please give me the time period that we're
Mr.
talking
Wade
about.
visit you at the place you laid your head.
When?
Has he ever visited you at the place you laid your head?
So let's be clear, because you lied in this, let me tell you which one you lied in, right here.
Oh, Jesus.
I think you lied right here. No.
See,
This
here
is
she
the truth.
goes.
Judge,
And
this
it
is-
is a lie.
Judge.
It
We're
is
gonna-
a lie.
All right, Ms. Willis.
You said,
Mr. Seda, thank you. We're going to take 5 minutes. Be back in 5.
It is a lie. It is a lie.
All right. I'm ready to pony up and saddle up and save a horse and
may I go?
ride this bitch all the way to the jail. What the hell is going on here?
Yes. Here she comes again. Attitude.
Wearing her dress
This
all
is a lie.
backwards.
Yeah, this is, and the judge should have admonished the shit out of her.
But like I said, he's not doing a damn thing. Again, I'm a judge. I'm wearing a cowboy hat.
Here's
And
the thing. This is a different kind of hearing. That she's not. She can be prosecuted for things that come out of this, but this is deciding whether she should be removed from prosecuting Trump, like her and her team and Mr. Wade, because of inappropriate relations. And giving the appearance of it was enough to have her disqualified. So the reason they're letting her do this shit is because it just goes to show how much she should be disqualified and removed from being on this case. An attitude is best defense. Yeah, just imagine, like if this was Mo coming in there and acting like this with any judge, that they would be just held in contempt of court.
yeah,
They wouldn't be told, you need to stop now. Yeah, it wouldn't happen. Oh, you're back.
I am looking forward to playing her on the Netflix reality show of, this particular hearing.
Yeah, her attitude is remarkably horrible. Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gets
Yes, yeah.
reported
You're
back
good.
in.
All right.
Great.
All right.
Thank you.
We're back on the record. Before we proceed, though, I'd advise everyone here, this being a room mostly full of lawyers who have spent their lives in out of a courtroom. We all know what professionalism looks like, what decorum looks like, and devoting ourselves to the rule of law and proper advocacy. I would urge everyone to keep those principles in mind, starting with the fact that we won't talk over each other. And from there, we'll get through this. Ms. Merchant.
Thank you, Judge. How often did Mr. Wade visit you at a place where you were living between 2019 and 2021?
So you want to start with the lie that he lived with me in South Fulton in 2019, a home he's never been to?
Excuse me, that's not the
one lie
question
he
I
told in your
asked.
document. No,
Judge, I didn't ask her about that.
Ms. Merchant, I want you to ask a very precise question. I think she's
She
saying
did.
and answering
I
that
think
he
that
did
was
not live with
very
her. So why don't we
precise.
break that up into smaller
Ever.
parts?
And I didn't ask about living.
But you put in your, while we're talking about professionalism, while we're talking about professionalism, she put in 3 different documents he
You'll
lived
have
with me
full opportunity to respond.
In
and
2000
filed that with the court.
in
professionalism.
2019.
He's never been to South Fulton. In 2019, I lived in South Fulton. He has never been to my residence in 2019, ever, not once.
In
2020?
2019, he's never been to your residence, any place.
I lived in my home in South Fulton before I started getting the threats that were here, a house I paid for with my own sweat and tears. I'm no longer able to live there.
Tears.
But in 2019, I did. And in the 2 months of 2019 that I knew Mr. Wade, 3 months, the beginning of October, all of November, and all of December, Mr. Wade never came to my house in South Fulton. Let me help you out. I lived there in 2020. He never came to my house in 2020, let alone live with me, as you put falsely in these documents. In the first 3
not
months
what
of
she's
2021,
asking
when I
you.
could still enjoy my home, Mr. Wade never came to South Fulton,
not
and
what
it is
she's
certainly a lie that he lived with
saying.
me.
Losing her fucking
So
mind.
in 2020, so you said 2019, 2020.
She's
Did
really
Mr. Wade
bucking
ever
that
visit you at a place
stereotype.
that you
He has
resided?
never been to my home in South Fulton. 2020 was before I knew that a phone call was going to be made and I was going to have to abandon my home. As a result thereof, he never visited, lived at, came to, or has seen South Fulton.
You qualified that with your home in South Fulton. I'm
That's where I
asking,
lived in 2020.
2020, did he ever visit you at a place that you resided?
Okay.
That's a
I don't
simple
understand. You're not
question.
getting guidance. In 2020, I
she's-
lived in South Fulton.
Okay.
That's the only place I lived in South Fulton. That's before I had to abandon my home, Judge.
All right.
And at my
Well,
home
I
in
think we're gonna
South
clarify
Fulton,
this. We'll break it
Miss,
down.
he never came there, okay? So if you
Ms.
don't come
Wells.
someplace, you can't live there.
Ms. Wells, I'm gonna have to caution you. This is gonna be the first time I have to caution you. We have to listen to the questions as asked. And if this happens again and again, I'm gonna have no choice but to strike your testimony. So we need to break this down. Ms. Merchant's question, I believe, asking whether you lived anywhere other than South Fulton.
Yeah, Judge.
I did not live anywhere but South Fulton, Georgia in 2020. That is
Miss-
before I began my prosecution of this case. And it was my plan to only live there.
Did Mr. Wade ever visit you at the condo that you leased from Miss Yurdi?
He visited that condo, yes.
He did.
Yes.
Did he
There
ever
you
spend the
go.
night at that condo?
No.
Just visited.
Yeah, but he did visit for sure.
Did you ever go out to eat together, other than the lunches you talked about,
In
during
2020?
2019 or 2020?
I would think that we probably went to lunch, but it wouldn't have been, let me think, 2019.
She didn't ask lunch. She said out to eat.
I don't know. I'm going to say we probably broke bread someplace in 2019. I don't remember it, but it seems like we would have broke bread sometime in 2019. So I'm going to say yes, although I have no recollection. But it seems to me like I go out to eat and drink with pretty much everyone. So I'm going to say yes.
Outside of the vacations that we've already talked about,
Was
you never go out
was
to dinner
Judas
with Mr.
Iscariot
Wade?
with you? Was it the
I
Last
mentioned to you
Supper?
that I've,
Exactly.
So what time period? Like we're asking very vague questions. I thought we were treating the witness as hostile under 611. We're no longer doing that. So we're going to go back and forth. We need to be more specific with our questions if we're going to treat her as hostile.
All right, Ms. Merchant, it's not so much, I think you can elect between leading and open-ended questions, but I think we are still wondering, and I think we need to get back on track of focusing on the financial benefit.
And
or
she
the
knows the
relationship.
judge is full of shit.
And my next question about if you did go out to dinner, who paid when you went out to dinner?
he paid, I paid.
You both paid.
Okay, so let me be real clear. We didn't say, oh, the bill is $102. You give $51, I'll give $51. I don't operate like that with my girlfriends. I don't operate like that with anyone. He caught the bill, I caught the bill. Whomever.
I'm with him. I'm with her on that.
Did you ever pay him through Cash App?
No.
You only ever paid him through cash?
What? Yes. What we're talking about, I'm very confused
You've
now.
never
Like,
given Mr. Wade money?
Because she would pay her rent. She would pay through Cash App. That seemed to be a very common theme for her in paying Miss Yurdy through cash. I never paid her in cash. Well, I mean, sometimes I pay her in cash, but mostly it was Cash App, which means
Well,
that
I
you
mean,
can track that. You can track those funds that are coming out. And the reason why this becomes very important, and they keep saying, "Oh no, I was just paying cash. I wasn't doing this," is because you can't track cash unless you're taking it from your campaign, which is highly illegal. But if you're paying in cash, you can't track it. You can't show a receipt. So therefore, it looks like he paid for everything. And as I said at the very beginning of this, if she has the appearance of it being inappropriate, it will automatically disqualify her. And that's why she's being so wishy-washy on her questions and her answers, is because they know that she was doing inappropriate shit with those funds. She was actually benefiting from the money that he was being paid out of Fulton County's coffers. And this is the problem. Even if she didn't do it, just the appearance of it is enough that she should be disqualified. And that, I guarantee you, is what they are trying to bring up. And this is, you have to understand, this is Trump's defense team.
it's not even Trump's defense though. It's the other guy, and I cannot remember his name right now because I currently
Right.
stink with names. But it's
I
a
don't either.
co-defendant.
Yes.
But
he raised this issue. Like,
so who's the auditor? How does this money get spent? Why am I asking questions? Lennon, if I ever find you, bureaucracy is the price that we pay for impartiality. I am going to choke you with that line, allegedly in Minecraft.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Money through Cash App.
no,
The only money you've ever given him outside of a contract is cash.
I didn't give him money in a contract. So that was cute, but I didn't give him money outside in a contract. What happened? No, we're going to answer it since you said it. He worked more hours than he was paid, and the county paid him for the work that he did. So don't be cute with me and then think that you're not going to get an answer.
And I will ask you about the contract in a minute. I asked you about cash. Did you ever pay him anything? And I'm trying to qualify my questions. I'm not talking about the contract with Fulton County that was paid. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about outside of that. Did you ever pay him anything other than cash?
I've only given him cash a few times in the course of what we're talking about.
So you've
If
never
we
used
would
your
go to
credit card?
dinner,
Let her finish her answer.
if we would go to dinner, I wouldn't give him cash because he paid for dinner or I paid for dinner. I've given him cash only a few times in life, probably 4.
Okay.
Probably the most money I've ever handed him is $2,500. The least amount of money I've handed him, probably between $500 and $1,000.
You never wrote him a check?
Ma'am, I don't have checks.
Okay. So you have no proof of any reimbursement for any of these things because it was all cash, right?
The
There you go.
testimony of one witness is enough to prove a fact.
So my
Are
question
you telling
was,
me
do you
that
have
I'm
any
lying to you?
proof?
Is that what you're intimating right here?
I'm asking if you have any proof that you paid him any of these
The proof
monies.
is what I just told you.
You have no written proof. Is that correct?
So I have some probably some transactions like in Belize. I probably spent $500 on my card in Belize. I spent 800, I can't remember, $900 on each of our tickets to go to Belize. I did the $700. I probably got some minor expenses in Aruba that would be on a card. But for the most part, for those trips, other than, so the 2 cruises, I gave him money for those before we ever left because they were pre-booked. Let me answer.
Well, the question was if you had any written proof. And so
I've answered you that I've had written
we
proof.
can move to the next question. If you've answered if you had any written proof, and that was my question.
I want to make sure that we're clear that for the 2 cruises,
Judge,
and that's
I
the
asked if
cruise
she gave
plus
him written
Aruba.
proof.
We're not going to talk over each other. Ms. Merchant, she answered your question, so we can ask the next question. Ms. Willis, Ms. Cross will have
She's
plenty of
trying to do.
opportunities to let you clarify
She
your
won't
answers
shut
when it's
the
her
fuck
turn.
up.
Thank you, Judge. Knowing your role as district attorney, you know that public funds are scrutinized and money is scrutinized and things like that. You
And I've
understand.
never, I'm sorry, go
You
ahead.
understand you're under a microscope. You have reporting requirements, all of those types of things. You have no record other than your testimony of the money that you've given Mr. Wade.
You've already asked that question. Let's keep going.
Thank you. Just
When
trying to
you
be
took
clear.
office, you had a tax lien of $4,600. Did you pay that with cash when you made that tax lien whole?
I probably paid through however you pay.
Okay. So, but you were saying that you had amounts of cash. You still had that lien in 2022 when you were dating Wade and going on these trips. So the cash that you gave him, that could have been used to pay this tax lien off?
You gonna tell me how to pay my
I
bills?
object. It's not relevant as it relates to
That
why we're
is.
here today.
It's very relevant.
Submission, are you trying to establish that she was insolvent in some way?
I definitely was trying to establish that she did not have these mass amounts of cash that she's talking about. Yes.
All right. Re-ask the question.
You had a tax lien in 2022, $4,600.
If you say I did,
And you did not use this cash that you had to reimburse Mr. Wade to pay that off, correct?
no.
Okay.
I went shopping too when I didn't pay it off.
And you talked about, like, you gave a lot of interviews to some authors of a book called Find Me the Books, right?
I would not characterize it as a lot. I probably have spoken to them
But I'm
2 or
gonna
3
beg to
times.
find the question is relevant as to
I think it's already come up that finances are discussed in the book. I'll overrule that.
Thank you.
Ms. Willis, you can continue your answer.
what came up with Mr. Wade as it relates to hearsay statements that he was asked about in relation to what Ms. Willis may or may not have said in relation to an author. So it's not relevant to the testimony that's occurring at this time.
I think Ms. Merchant has said that inside the book, she also makes statement as to her own finances, and that's at issue.
Yes.
So you gave interviews to the authors of this book, correct?
Once or twice.
Okay.
I said
And
3 times just to be comprehensive. I don't know if it was 3 times, 2 or 3 times, I think.
It's like
you were
woman.
quoted in the book, and I will give you a
Oh.
chance to say if this is a misquote. You were quoted, when they asked you about if you wanted to run for office for DA, you were quoted, "I really don't want to be financially effed up again." Do you remember saying that?
So what that refers to, so that
My
we're
question first is if you remember saying that.
I remember saying something similar to that, but I would like to be able to explain what that's
That's
in
fine.
reference to. That's
fine.
not in reference to anything else. It was a huge sacrifice to be district attorney in Fulton County. Huge. I was doing just fine. I had a municipal court judgeship that was paying me $100-something a year, and like you got to show up twice a week. Easiest thing I've ever done in life. I also had private clients that were
Jesus.
paying me to represent them, so I was able to have a law practice and that. Raising 2 daughters by myself. There were times in life where things were hard. And so I was telling people, I don't really run for DA.
$100,000
I don't want
a
to run for DA. I'm in a good position right now. I got this easy job that I enjoy, being the chief judge of the city of South Fulton. I'm making money at the law firm, and I'm not sure that I want to make the sacrifice. And why does it always have to be me? Eventually, I prayed. I think that I was the appropriate person.
Prayed.
I think that I did that. So when you're referring to that, what I'm saying is, why should I make a sacrifice again? And what I was not talking about is being district attorney. Once you get elected district attorney, you're in a fine financial position. I make over $200,000 a year. What I was talking about is I ran for judge. When I ran,
You hear that, right? Right now, she's
Yeah.
making over $200,000 a year. Yet she couldn't pay her tax liens.
And would she have prosecuted people for not paying their tax liens? Or would that be a Fed thing?
No.
Also,
if you-
God
if
would
you-
like to be left out of this conversation. He's like,
Yeah.
haven't I suffered enough?
Yeah.
Joel Olstein still claims me,
Oh,
that mulleted
God.
weirdo.
I didn't realize her dress is on backwards. Yeah, it is.
Look, she is just John, she is the last ride or die fan of Chris Cross, and she missed the short bus, and that is a thing she'll never, ever, ever, ever do again. And she's
jump.
about to make us all jump off a bridge,
Just
allegedly in Minecraft.
Jump.
for judge, I took $50,000 of my personal money out of my retirement, and that money ended up being lost. And I know when you bet on yourself, you're going to have to bet money on yourself. And so what I was talking about was not wanting to go through the personal financial expense of running for office. By no means did I think that I was going to be financially in a bad position once I won. Let's talk about what I was up against, because it's important to understand that comment. I had a district attorney who had been here for 24 years.
And Judge,
People,
you
no,
don't
no,
wanna
no.
interrupt her, but
It's
she's
very
Judge,
relevant as to
Judge,
what
she
my
is
mindset
opining.
was about this. So I'm trying
Judge,
to answer your
she's
question. So what I was saying
testifying.
is,
So it's a finance.
right, but it is about my finances.
It's about
If
your
I
finances.
didn't, nobody put me in this seat. So I had already run for office once. I had spent $50,000.
Oh my God. Just woman, you are the most sufferable person. Sufferable.
Oh my.
Baker.
What? Oh, nice haircut.
Yes.
It's new.
It's not even the 17th. You got your haircut early.
Yeah, because tomorrow is the 17th, and I have a full day of Stabby Day. If you have the time, might be tomorrow afternoon instead.
Okay. That works. Also, why do I remember your haircut day?
Well, it's like Valentine's Day. I just because I was sitting here and thinking, I know Big J, the guy who allegedly sacrificed the most for the rest of us so we could go to heaven. Have you ever met this lovely woman?
Well, apparently he's blessed her with being able to sweat money and cry money.
Yeah, and she has all the monies in the world, and she is only sacrificing her for the good of the people. And it's a shit easy. I want to wonder if that judge sits up there and says, don't spoil it for me. Don't spoil it. I only have to work 2 hours, 2 weeks a day, or a week, and I could just get I could get all the money. And he's sitting up there thinking, shut the fuck up, bitch. I sit here for 8 hours doing nothing.
Yeah. I get paid $100,000 a year. Plus I can run my own private law firm and get paid for that on top of the $100,000 a year that I'm getting paid as a judge.
Yeah, for 700 700 no, 100 working days. That's a pretty good math. Hello, Zach.
That's 1,000.
and again,
it's $10,000 a day.
It's and she's just sitting there like, how do you dare question me?
Yes.
Well, you might have misappropriated funds. Had that been Johnny Bravo down at the county clerk level, she would have had a case against him. Yeah, she is more well educated and paid more than all of us losers. I agree. And she has more attitude than all of us.
Yeah, combined.
Yeah,
I mean, and that's a steep hill to climb with Mo. She's got lots of attitude.
she got swayshire. She doesn't have an attitude. She has swayshire.
That's true.
I hope that her bespoke custom cross is coming soon. I mean, I've heard that it's hard to get the little orphans to make it directly from the Vatican, as quickly as they used to with, sanctions and such. But I'm sure her stigmata will show up any day now, and she'll be
She's just
crowned,
gonna
Saint
bump Mother
Fanny.
Teresa out of the sainthood.
She
but again, how much money did she allegedly spend on her boyfriend, who's not her boyfriend, but who claims to be her boyfriend?
About 10,000. Over their whole relationship, maybe 10,000.
Yeah, but that's fair. That's a corruption level that would land anyone in public office in prison. That's
from just walking around cash for her, because I mean, at some points she would have that kind of cash just sitting around her house. I mean, she said at one point, I think in the best of times I had about 15,000 sitting around, not 1,500, 15,000 sitting around the house, just sitting there, not doing anything with it.
You have that uneven pillow in the couch, so you just put a few stacks of the greenbacks down under that, and I'm at most times I have like 200,000-300,000 lying around, because you never know when you're going to go on a trip. And Cash App, who uses Cash App?
I mean,
Blessed as I am with double D's, I've got at least a cool mill in here that y'all don't know about.
I'm so turned on right now.
Talking about testicles, that top left corner.
Best to zoom.
Yeah, those are very large testicles.
Is that Trump's lawyer, or who is she?
She's an attorney for Trump's team, and that's what this all is. This is determining whether Fani Willis is able to continue on as prosecutor. If there's any impropriety or appearance of improprietary behavior, then she should be immediately removed, and that's what the judge is there to decide. And Mo's making a valid point. It's like, more than likely she isn't, because she's checking all the boxes. More than likely.
Yeah, and again, we don't. Yeah, this is before a judge, so it's not before a jury. But imagine having this lady before a jury. Who with this attitude? I'm covering the crack fairy tales right now, and those people They could be the next savior of the world and still be found guilty because they have absolutely no personality. And she's just sitting there. How dare you? She could be Greta Thunberg.
Yeah. And you notice that most of that attitude comes from people on this side of the aisle, where they have this attitude of, I am not doing anything wrong. How dare you challenge me? How dare you call into question my behavior? I am beyond reproach. I make the law. I am the law. I am God.
I
with this
am the
power.
Senate.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Did
Yes,
she watch all of the prequel series? Just ask. She watched the prequel. She's like, that Sheev Palpatine guy. I kind of like him.
Yeah, he was the bad guy, but
He won in the end, though.
Yeah, he got older.
Yeah.
Well, his granddaughter did.
True.
Mo,
He had a plan.
Mo, you know I have a catapult standing ready. Don't
They
make
could
me
use
put
it at
you
the
into
border.
that catapult and catapult you into the sun. We don't talk about those movies.
Well, I'm just saying, at least someone had a plan. And I, as a type A person, I'm glad that someone had a plan, and Sheev did.
I'm just not sure that the writers of the movies had any plans. And then could we make it Palpatine's daughter?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, sounds fine. Sounds fine. Let's do that. Do that ruin continuity? He kind of died, but clones.
Yeah,
He didn't die. The Death Star didn't all the way explode. He rode one of the pieces down to Endor, captured some of the little Endorians, some of the little Ewoks, and then and then he flew around the space cancer and went back to Dark Planet, where he built all of his ships underground, as you do.
Well,
and they didn't know how to go up.
Not before he violated some of them Ewoks in probably the most appropriate ways.
Well, that's
Well,
where furries come from.
what do you do after you survive an explosion? You've got all that adrenaline, your fingers are messed up, you're blind, but you still have a working. There's other Palpatines out there.
Why not grab an Ewok and have fun? Just party in.
Furries are really
That's how we got Gremlins.
Just add water.
We always wondered how those happened. It's all making sense now.
Oh, the canon is deep in them.
We should have a movie critic show. People would still be thinking, did we see the same movie? And did we see a movie? I don't know, but it was fun.
Oh no, I've not watched any of those movies. I stopped after Jake Soywalker drinking green milk from a space manatee boob. For some reason, then he overforced himself. I just, after that, I was kind of. I mean, I did like Princess Leia turning into Sailor Moon, but that was more of a me thing. I mean, that was. They were like, "How will I?" Well, I chose to see it as Sailor Moon.
I thought it was
so
a
I was like,
promotion well, I'm gonna jump off again. I just wanted to come on and
I have to.
Guess you've got a show coming up, Baker. You have fun.
So
Thanks for swinging by, brother.
And then I will leave you two to start mine.
Mo's got to go also. So
I don't know. All of the things. Can we just lay in the comfort of asking chicks boobs and call it a day?
Yeah. Well, boobs are fun.
I mean, I have a pair at home, and I'm not disagreeing. So I say we just stop. Just watch it on mute.
Just mute it and just watch the letters go across.
Just Baywatch theme all the time.
Oh, that would be hilarious. Just keep it constantly rolling. Like, yeah.
I need technical skills so I can do all of these things. It is Friday. day. So obviously Friday. So we are going to have all the shenanigans and a little bit of news over on Mornings with Mo and Fry. Fry is over in his den, probably eating a hair clip. So that'll be all the fun.
You guys make sure to go check out Mo. She'll be on in about 15 minutes or so, somewhere, well, about a half
Yes.
hour. So she'll be running
Yeah.
strong about a half hour. And I'm not going to go through this whole thing today because I've got more recording to do for
Oh,
the
yes.
second half where she gets questioned by her by the other side. So this was only her testimony, and it's got another I'd say about another 2 hours of her going through this stuff because she gets questioned by everybody on Trump's team.
Well, do they all have great knockers, though? I think is
No,
what we. Well, damn
no.
it.
There's a reason why they put her up there first. Take the wind out of the sails. I think
I mean,
I think Phony is really happy that it's a woman up there because then she can act like a real bitch to her, and it seems like it's appropriate.
yeah. See what they should have changed. They should have changed it up. They should have gotten. uh, I don't know how they would have done it, but an African American woman and got her up there.
Oh, it
And
would have been no, because it would have just been a cat fight.
I
the
know,
whole
but I'm
time.
willing to watch that. Look, I want someone to take their earrings off. I want a wig snatched. I want this full Jerry Springer. Forget decorum. I want a smackdown. But that's just me. And I'm kind of full on maybe not given. I'm in full F deficit this Friday, so I may not be wanting the healing and structural, repair of the country. I may be full
Well,
shenanigans mode. So I will see you guys in just a little bit. Thank you for inviting me on. This
Oh, thanks.
was infuriating,
And
but
fun.
and fun. I mean, I am not looking up right now if I have to have a law degree to run for DA in Georgia and or live there. I mean, can I do it remote?
Yeah,
I mean, at this
probably.
point, I'd steal less money if I worked remote. I mean, could that be
True.
my campaign thing? Like, I'll steal less of your money. Look, truth and campaigning. Look,
hmm
I have principles, and I'll steal less of your money. I also want to go on a wine tasting.
Yeah, wine tasting, that would be so fun. Especially if you're doing a
Uh,
pairing with chocolate and caviar. Might be from Sweden or Germany or Russia or something like that. I don't
so
know.
I would have said, "Wait a minute. Are you a Putin puppet? You had something from Russia. Do we need to?" I would see. This is again why I'm not a lawyer because I've been like, from Russia,
Really? Really?
Grey Goose vodka. Have we checked your links to Russia? This is why, again, I'm not a lawyer.
Well, you have a wonderful show, Mo, and like I
Thank
said,
you.
I'll be sending people along.
Thanks. It's
Bye.
full on shenanigans today. The littles have an e-learning day, which basically just means packet work, which means I have to go nowhere, which means there might be some adult beverage consumed during daytime hours today.
Well, I don't
'Cause
know
it's been
about me yet because we may be we may be taking a trip out of town to handle the father-in-law's estate and stuff. So we're just it's we don't know right now. A lot of it has to do with getting the death certificate and all that kind of stuff. So that's sort
I
of where we're at with that.
completely understand. Do you know that you don't actually need to buy 6 of those? On a on a random note, I don't know why I bought 6 or that number stuck out to me, but I did buy 6. I don't know how many people I think I needed to prove that my
Well,
but
my wife did the same exact thing, and the reason why she did this is because of she's going to have it for very specific reasons, and
and that's what people had told me, but, we maybe were in different financial places.
yeah, true.
So, mine was
Well,
more like, yeah, well, he wasn't paying the mortgage and he's also not alive, so if you would like to foreclose on the house Here.
Here.
I always love the calls that I get now still, like, can I talk to Mr. What's his face? And I'm like, let me see if I can dig him up. I'm a terrible person. I'm going straight to hell. And on that note,
you take care. Well, I'll see you soon. Bye. Oh, hey. Ladies and gentlemen, the wonderful, gracious, most lovely Mo. She's cool. She's very cool. Let's get back to this. We got about another 10 minutes, and then I'll start winding this thing down.
Dollars of my own money running, and it was vamoose, nothing. And so when I'm talking to those offers, I'm talking about the contemplation of the sacrifice of the run, not the sacrifice of once you become DA. The odds were against me. I was likely going to lose the election based on who I was running against. So that needs to be in the appropriate context.
Isn't it true that the authors also wrote, and you can dispute this if you'd like, that you were broke after that race?
The 2018 race.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a hard race. I wasn't broke, like I didn't have any. So broke is relative, depending where you are, but that hurt to lose that $50,000. So I'm sure my mental mindset was like, I just gave $50,000 away.
Right. So they characterized it from their conversations with you that you were broke. You had poured your own money into the campaign, and you weren't able to pay your own bills because of your clients couldn't pay their bills to you, and you had a paltry array of family and asset forfeiture cases. It says you were trying to make it month to month. Is that an accurate depiction of your financial situation at that point?
I would want to read that, but I don't remember clients not being able to pay their bills. Or
may I approach, Judge?
You can.
Yeah,
you may.
Page 13.
I have not read this book.
Oh my. Good Lord Almighty.
So like this fact here, her ex-husband Fred had run into a financial. I have no information about that.
I just asked about if what they represent from their interviews with you, that you were broke and that you had clients that weren't able to pay their bills.
Can you show me where that is? Because this is where you put the tab. So that's where I read.
Broke, couldn't pay their bills.
Yeah, that I'm sure I characterized myself as broke as leaving that $50,000. I don't know that I had her nascent law practice at paltry array. I didn't have. I thought I had a law practice. So this is not correct. I'm sure it's just I didn't have any asset forfeiture cases. So I had one case where they had took one of my clients' money at the airport. I don't know if that's what they're I don't know. Paltry array. I did have family law cases. I guess that's what they're talking about. And clients who couldn't pay their bills ain't clients. So no.
So my question was just if this was a fair and accurate representation where it says you were trying to make it month to month at that point.
No, I don't think that is actually a fair and accurate representation, but I am certain that after the 2018 election, I'm still not really happy about having given up that $50,000.
You know when you paid your tax lien?
I don't.
You don't? Do you know if you paid it?
I know I've paid some taxes. I don't know. I don't want to speculate.
Did you tell anyone at Fulton County Board of County Commissioners about your relationship with Mr. Wade?
No.
Did you disclose your relationship to anybody at Fulton County?
No. Why would I do that?
No, I don't think so.
And as the chief law enforcement officer of Fulton County, I assume that you're familiar with the county code and ordinances?
I've said we're not going to cover that in this hearing, Ms. Merchant.
I'm sorry, Judge?
We said we weren't going to cover the county regulations.
Okay, and I won't. Let me ask you this then. So are you aware that you're required to disclose any relationship with someone that you contract with in Fulton County?
I'm going to object this the court prior ruling that you made this morning.
Would this be different because it's a potential for impeachment?
Yes.
Yes.
What did you ask me?
Ms. Merchant, if you agree, ask the question.
Okay. Are you aware that Fulton County requires you to disclose any relationship with someone that you're doing business with?
I'm not aware, and I know often that things are confused with state constitutional officers in county, but I'm not aware.
Okay. So it's not so it's your understanding that you don't have a duty to disclose the
Please
relationship.
answer that question. Let's keep going.
Did you keep track of this cash that you paid him at all?
What are you talking? I don't understand.
Did you keep track? Did you keep a ledger? Did you keep track of it?
So I've only given him cash, as I mentioned, 3 or 4 times. There's no ledger. This is friends handing money off to each other.
So the answer is no.
I think you've already asked whether there was any written proof whatsoever, and she's
Yes.
answered that.
Okay.
So we've covered this. Let's move on.
Come on, speed it up. Stop repeating yourself. It makes you look dumb.
Who are you referring to when you suggested that Mr. Roman's motion to disqualify was racially motivated?
We already said we're not talking about the forensic misconduct that's been alleged.
Okay. And okay.
And just so the record is clear, I don't believe I said that his motion was racially motivated, so I don't want that to stay there. I've never said his motion was racially motivated, so that should not be
Ms.
true.
Lewis, I
if
think
she
it would
wrote
be
that.
best if we don't need to go down that road. We're going to save that for argument.
You once said that you would not engage with a personal relationship with anyone that worked for Fulton County. Is that correct?
An employee?
Anyone that worked for Fulton County.
I think I said an employee.
Okay. So that's the qualification you give an employee. You would.
I think that's a statement that I made. So if you want to quote me accurately.
So is your position because Mr. Wade was not an employee, or is your position he wasn't an employee, correct?
Mr. Wade is not an employee, and he will tell you that over and over again.
Just one moment, Judge.
Like pulling hairs.
I'm sorry, this statement, just so I make sure I accurately quote you. What you said was you won't sleep with people who work under you. Do you not consider Mr. Wade working under you?
I consider Mr. Wade to be an agent.
Agent?
Yeah,
All right.
an appointee is what I really think of him as.
Your point, whatever merit it has, Ms. Merchant, is on the record. Next question. All right. Do we need any moments in a minute? Mr. Sadow.
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
All right.
Oh boy.
I'm going to try to ask you questions that you can actually answer without having to explain. Okay?
Yes, sir. My comprehension skills are pretty good, so we should do all right.
We shall soon see. If I heard you correctly, you moved into what I will refer to as the Yurti condo in either March or April of 2021. Is that correct?
Sometime between late February and April. Yes, I don't. Just so we're clear. Yes, but in that time period, you're in the ballpark. We're in the ballpark.
Okay. And is that Yurti condo? Would you say that it is in Hapeville?
It is in Hapeville. Yes, sir.
And you moved in there for safety reasons?
My father, yes, I moved in there. We were concerned. My father was terribly concerned about me
Yes or no?
continuing to live at the house. And so they were clear. People came to my house at 5 o'clock in the morning about the police brutality cases, saying I was going to have a wake up call. There were security threats due to gang cases, and there were concerns due to that was at the very beginning of this, looking into that. And so for all of those reasons and what was happening, my father wanted me out the house, and begrudgingly I left.
Okay. So the answer to the question was a yes for safety reasons, correct?
Those were all of the things that caused the safety concerns. I'm
I'm
sorry.
not questioning whether they are or are not safety concerns. I just asked that you moved into this condo, Yurti condo, for
Right.
safety reasons, right?
Yes.
Okay. At the time that you moved into the condo, be it from February to April of 2021,
Yes.
was your father still living in your house?
Right. Because my father.
That's all I ask you.
But I get to explain the answer, sir.
I don't know
No,
if there's
you
an
don't.
explanation. If I ask you, was your father still living at your house? The answer is either he was or he wasn't.
Yes, but you are going to get to argue at the end of this, as we both
I'm not
know.
gonna
And
argue
so
anything.
I
I'm
would
gonna
like to
ask-
be able to
Alright.
explain why.
I'm
And
gonna.
so,
okay.
yes,
Willis?
because my father is an older gentleman, he was worried about COVID and he stayed.
Woman.
Ms. Willis, I'm going to have to say
Oh.
that's second time. Whenever we have to put a pause, you stop testifying, okay? You'll have a chance to explain yourself. The question was whether your father was not staying there at the time, and you're clarifying that
Yep. Don't let
in your
her.
answer as
Don't
well.
let her loose like that.
You can have a brief clarification, but it shouldn't be something that reaches well beyond the question. All right, Mr. Sadow, you can re-ask the question. We'll see where it takes us.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. Was your father still living in your house at the time you moved to what I would refer to as the Yurti condo?
Yes, sir, he was, due to his concerns related to COVID.
The safety concern was that there was potential danger at your house. Is that correct?
Yes, my address had been exposed. So yes, there was concerns about potential danger at my house.
Okay, so anyone staying at your house in the time period after you went to the Yurti condo was still in danger, correct?
Yeah, well, no, he did.
I think you have to, it's your attorney, Ms. Willis. Sorry, Mr. Bott, your objection is speculation
Yes.
to the question of
Speculation.
whether someone was still in danger at her condo,
I can,
Just let her answer the question.
or Mr. Sadow wants to rephrase. So he's-
No, yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not
I
sure.
was able to
I've got
understand it.
I've got the objection and then I have,
I'll withdraw the objection. You can move forward.
Okay.
So, and I don't remember the question, so I can answer it.
well, you can now that the objection's been withdrawn. Can you try to answer that question?
Yes,
There's still a safety concern
I
for
was,
people staying at the house.
yes, I was very concerned about my father still living at the house. However, if you have dealt with an older gentleman, he was not leaving the house, despite my urging him that I thought he
Your
should
Honor.
leave as well. He did not
What?
want to leave the house
Woman.
because he was particularly
Stop.
worried at his age about COVID. But that became
Stop.
I don't want to say
Stop.
I was not happy with that decision of my father's, but I can't ultimately make him leave. And he stayed there too long, in my opinion.
Okay, thank you. During that period that you left to go to the Yerty condo,
Yes.
did any of your children stay at your house?
So I don't think that they were there at that point. Certainly my baby wasn't there.
I'm talking about this entire period. We're talking about, if I remember correctly, and you'll correct me, I'm sure, you said that you stayed there at what I would call the Yerty condo until January of 2022, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm asking you in that period, which would be February to April of 2021 until January of 22, did any of your children stay at your house?
And you don't have to yell at me. I'm able to understand. So I would ask you to not yell at me. That being said, I don't
He can do
actually
whatever he
expressly
wants
remember,
to.
but I can tell you, since I have left my home, there have been times my oldest daughter came in, but I can't tell you with certainty the time window that you've said, if they did or not. And so I don't want to speculate to that, but there was some time that my oldest daughter came back, whether it was that period or after I left the Yurty residence, I'm not sure. Okay.
Okay, so if I continue to go into more detail on this, you're not going to be able to give me an answer of whether or not, in fact, any of your children were still at the house or stayed at your house during that time period, correct?
What I can give you clarity of so that we are clear is from the time I moved out in February-ish of 2021, after I left there was a time period that my oldest daughter came back. But if you're asking me, was it in that window or after, I just don't have a recollection of that because, your kids come and they go. And so I don't remember the specific time period, and I apologize for that.
Did your children ever stay with you at the Yerty condo?
Like maybe a night.
Okay.
Like for a girls' night or something, but live with, no.
Okay. Did anyone else stay with you at the Yerty condo,
That was a-
including Miss Yerty?
Never. Miss Yurty never lived in the condo. She met her husband and they moved. They weren't quite married, but they moved. Nobody ever lived with me in the condo. That was
My
a lonely
my
period.
word was stayed, not lived. Stayed with you at the condo.
I guess I don't understand the distinction, but no one ever, I think my oldest child, I think she spent one night with me, maybe my oldest and my youngest. But I think that whole time I was in that place, other than that one night, I don't think anyone ever, that was a very lonely period in my life. I don't think anyone ever spent the night other than maybe one night. I remember a picture of my baby
Well,
sitting on the
up to a
couch in
point.
that place.
It has
And I'm
to be
thinking she
minimum.
spent that night, but just a very
Has to
lonely
be a
time in
fair
life.
minimum,
Okay.
is what
We'll stay with the
judge said.
lonely theme just for a minute. Did Nathan Wade visit you at the Yerty condo from the time you moved in until he was hired on November the 1st of 2021?
So I moved out of that condo, but during that time period, I'm sure he came to visit. He came to visit. I can remember us going, I think the restaurant's Lickety Split. I can remember picking me up, going to Lickety Split and ordering some food and coming and sitting at my table and eating. So I remember times that he visited me at that condo. Yes.
Okay, could you give us an approximation of how many times Mr. Wade visited you at the condo between the time you moved in and prior to November 1 of 2020?
Good morning, Lynn.
I don't think often, but I don't want to speculate.
Can we say more than 5, more than 10?
I'm gonna tell you the problem I'm having here.
Yeah, you'd be lying.
Let's say more than 10, but I'm not sure that that's even accurate. He certainly has come and picked me up, gone and grabbed some food to eat. I don't remember him being in that condo a lot.
Okay, that's
I'm sorry. You want a number, and what I don't want to do.
giving me your
is to
current
mess-
and best recollection is all I'm asking for.
That's all I can give you, sir.
How many times did any of the prosecution team, how many times did Anna Cross come to that condo between the time you moved in and November 1st of 2021?
I don't think Anna's ever been to that condo.
What about any other prosecutor that's involved in the prosecution of this case?
I don't think any of them have.
Just Mr. Wade.
That's correct, sir.
Thank you.
But it was a lonely time.
Oh my God. That 2021. I have a lot of guilt about this time period in my life. Let me tell you why. But yes, it was a lonely time.
Okay.
I was very appreciative to the citizens for giving me this responsibility and this duty. But what I very, very quickly learned is that this is a very isolating job. And 2021 was a lonely time. I turned 50 in 2021. That's probably one of the worst birthdays I've ever had. I spent it alone. So I have a clear recollection of 2021 being lonely.
Okay. Did Mr. Wade ever visit you at the condo in the time period I'm talking about, prior to November of 2021, when Miss Yerty was at the condo?
So Miss Yurty and me, we didn't share the condo at the same time,
So the answer would be no.
but we never stayed there together. So it's an
Okay.
impossibility.
It's an impossibility.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, Miss Yurty, because we need to get clarification on this. Miss Yurty stayed in that place. There may have been a time that me and Mr. Wade visited, like went and saw Miss Yurty, but me and Miss Yurty never lived there together. Just so we're clear.
Yeah, just so we're clear. So as hateful as this is and as horrible as this is, I want to be firing all you fine folks out of here pretty soon. I'm going to fire you off like a cannon over into Mo in the deep end. She is, she's good people. Go check her out. And with that, we are going to end this thing. And so I can get the other one set up to continue recording, because we're going to cover more of this later today. Peace, y'all.